Afternoon, it's a bumper Sunday Sport today, lasting from now until 9 o'clock this evening. 4 Premier League commentaries, plenty of news from elsewhere too. We start here in North London, Spurs hosting Leicester City, and Big Ange knows the Lily Whites' form has not been up to scratch.
Every decision that's made is on me. I'm responsible for it. I'm the one that's guiding this. If you're looking for a head on a stick, take mine. They're in a much better place in all areas of the football club today than we were when I started.
Also kicking off at 2, it's a London ding-dong derby as Brentford head to Palace.
But the approach is always the same, regardless if we play an away game or at home. We play in the same way. We enter the pitch with the confidence, with the belief and with the determination to win it.
Last time we managed to edge also a very even game, so hopefully we can do the same, but we need to play our A game, no doubt about that.
At 4:30, West Ham United travel to Aston Villa, looking for revenge for a recent cup exit there.
And he's found Watkins, who's into the penalty area. Watkins, left-footed cross, and it's turned in by Morgan Rogers, and Villa have turned this tie on its head. Aston Villa 2, West Ham 1.
And if that's not enough for you, at 7 we'll be at Craven Cottage as the circus comes to town. That circus being Manchester United. The Fulham boss, though, is only worried about his team.
Doesn't matter what is the team that is below us or above us. We are there because probably we have to be even in a different position, but it's about ourselves, not about the position of the team that you are going to play against.
To fill up the kettle, open up a big packet of biscuits. It's going to be a long one.
BBC Radio London,
the home of London football.
Afternoon, welcome to a rather soggy and murky and grey White Hart Lane, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs look to take on Leicester City in the Premier League this afternoon. One of 4 commentaries for you, 5 commentaries indeed throughout the whole afternoon on the BBC Sport website and app, and on DAB Digital Radio. Spurs against Leicester on the BBC Sport website, Palace against Brentford, Aston Villa against West Ham United, and then later, much later, at 7 o'clock tonight, it's Fulham against Manchester United. We'll get into all of those games as well throughout the afternoon, but let's get team news here at Tottenham Hotspur just to confirm what you've probably already seen. 2 changes for Spurs from the team that beat Hoffenheim midweek. Antonin Kinski comes and returns between the sticks to replace Brandon Ostum, and there is a change behind Richarlison in midfield. Pape Matar replacing James Maddison's not 100%, still feeling sore after his exertions in Germany midweek. That is why he's not even on the bench. Kinski in goal, Porro, Dragusin, Gray and Davis the back 4, Bergvall, Bentancur and Sarr, Dejan Kulusevski, Son Heung-min and Richarlison up top for Leicester. They too were beaten last time out by Fulham and make just 1 change to that side. Mavididi drops down to the bench to be replaced by a former Fulham man, Bobby Decordova-Reid. It's Stolacic between the sticks, Justin Feist, Vestergaard and Christensen their back 4, Winks making a return to White Hart Lane, and Boubacar Soumare in midfield, with then Jordan Ayew, Bilal El Khanous and Bobby Decordova-Reid supporting the evergreen 38-year-old Jamie Vardy, leading scorer up top. And worryingly for Spurs, they are susceptible to counter-attacks, and that suits Vardy. Bradley Allen, delighted to say alongside me here. Bradley, let's be perfectly frank, and a quick look at the bench will tell you this, although it's good to see Yves Bissouma back on there, which is very positive. But it's basically the starting 11 virtually picks itself at the moment for Spurs based on who's fit, not who he wants to bring in.
Yeah, this relentless run of busy fixture schedule for Spurs is showing no signs of sort of dropping off, having returned with an important win, a much needed win in the Europa League on Thursday evening. In the early hours of Friday morning, they got to go again against a Leicester side that have struggled, can't buy a goal, and there's so much, Phil, riding on this Premier League fixture. From a Spurs point of view, in front of their home faithful, they can ill afford a defeat here. I'm not saying that both them and Manchester United are going to be in a relegation scrap. However, if form and results continue in the Premier League for both those teams, they are rather nervously going to look over their shoulder. You know, we think Southampton and probably Ipswich are going to be 2 that are going to go. Probably Leicester, Wolves, Everton have picked up a little bit Moisinho bounce, but you know there are teams that are starting to get cast adrift a little bit, but the Spurs fans will certainly not want them to fall even lower in the Premier League.
Absolutely, two teams that are currently above Tottenham from a London point of view and from the Premier League point of view at the moment. Meet at Selhurst Park this afternoon, 2 o'clock kickoff. It's Brentford, whose away form doesn't match the home form, although they've put in some good performances, and Palace, who are the absolute opposite of that. Been brilliant on the road of late, but at Selhurst Park wins have been a little bit more of a struggle. Let's get team news from this one. It's live on the BBC Sport website and app this afternoon, and Suhail Sahi, I'm delighted to say, is in South London.
Yeah, good afternoon, Phil. It's a wet and wild South London here. The rain's sweeping across Selhurst Park. It's a change of pace for both sides. Crystal Palace, Jefferson Lerma comes in for Kamada. He's on the bench. And as for Brentford, Kevin Schade comes into the 11 and replaces the Ukrainian Yarmolenko. He's on the bench too. So Palace in a 3-4-2-1 formation. Dean Henderson is in goals. Their back three from right to left is Richards, Lacroix and Guéhi. In midfield it's Muniz, Hughes, Lerma and Mitchell, and then Sarr, Mateta and Eze up front. As for Brentford, Flecken's in goals. Their back four, Rozolev, Collins, Vandenberg and Lewis Potter. In midfield it's Schade, Damsgaard, Janelt and Norgard, and up front Vissa and Mbumo. And by the way, those two up front, as a partnership, Phil, they've got double figures. The only club in the Premier League with two strikers who've got double figures.
Yeah, it's Brian Mbumo's best year in the Premier League. Jan Wiss has become Brentford's all-time Premier League top scorer as well during this season. They certainly are a powerful force, as is the man alongside you, who loves a wet and wild South London, don't you, Steve Brown?
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely love the weather we've got here. This would suit me, Phil. It adds another 3 yards to a sliding tackle, which always was in my favour. I didn't like going toe-to-toe running against anybody particularly, but the old slide tackle in this weather was beautiful.
You can't do it these days. Michael Oliver would send you off, Steve, even if you got it nowhere near the player, wouldn't he?
Yeah, well,
anyway.
I'm not sure I could play these days, to be honest, but there you go.
No, I'm sure you can. Listen, just about this one. Firstly, Brentford. Team news from me, from the looks of it. He went a little bit maybe more, not defensive minded with Yarmolenko last week, but Kevin Schade coming in is more of an offensive move from Brentford. From Crystal Palace's point of view, a lot of focus is on the front three. Ismaila Sarr, Mateta, who's back amongst the goals, and Eze as well. So I mean, this could be a chess match of a game, but it's two teams that have got a lot of excitement in there when they get forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you just address the Brentford change, I think, having watched them a couple of times this year, that they're not particularly strong away from home. Yeah, I know they've just had that win at Southampton 5-0, but the rest of the season's been pretty damn squib in terms of results. And so I think Thomas Frank has got to get them on the front foot a little bit more. The games I've watched, Phil, they've sat behind the ball religiously, really, really deep, looking for that counter. And I think he's got to change something in terms of their approach. And maybe just bringing in Schade. I mean, that front three is full of goals, but when you come and watch them away from home, you don't get the sense, that they're going to score too many goals, and that's the worry from a Brentford perspective. From a Crystal Palace perspective, in terms of Eze and Mateta seem to be linking up ever so well at the moment. Reading the stats on those two, particularly Eze, who's in a hot run of form in terms of assists, and seems to be matching up with Mateta very, very well. So that's the two really that Brentford have got to contain. But I think I'm in for a little bit of what I've been watching with Brentford, which is that really deep defensive shape to not concede a goal. And if they do, I think they'll have to come out a little bit more, which I think they should do that from the start anyway, if I'm brutally honest.
And Stephen Bradley, just from the pair of you, you're going to hear from all three head coaches, whatever we call them, from our games kick off at 2 in a moment or two. But Oliver Glasner and Thomas Frank, both of them are happy to talk about tactics, shape, approach that they expect from the opponent, as well as what they're going to do with their team. When you talk to them pre-match, it's pretty refreshing. We are now in an era where coaches, that we've got a number of coaches who are happy to talk about that side of football rather than just like, it's always a tough place to go. But then they will explain to you why they think it's a tough place to go. And I think from a fan's point of view, it's a real positive, because it just opens up the game, understanding a bit more.
Yeah, it certainly does, Phil, and I think with times moving and changing from a coaching point of view, what we're seeing now is that many, and I've mentioned it before, are coming through a journey where they've either experienced player development and working with individual players, with younger players, encouragement, support and improving, but as they then start to move to older groups and then get their first job on the run of the managerial ladder, they can almost use some of those qualities within the tactical scenarios, but they're then confident because they've practiced and polished their training sessions and their delivery on that. And I think in equal measure, these newer coaches are becoming more skilled at this.
Brownie?
Yeah, I just think we're in a day and age where the data that is available to summarisers and people working in studios means that if you don't front out and say what you want as a manager, there's a chance you could get embarrassed by those guys. And so I do think there is a manager now would rather you heard his perspective and his take on it than say, an ex-Premier League player comes on and does some analysis on the screen in front of you and kind of picks apart what you're doing. I think a manager would rather have you his thoughts rather than somebody else's. So I think the game has moved on in terms of summarising and presenting away from the pitch itself, and a manager has to cover himself now, whereas in the old days it was an interview and you got bog standard answers. Steve Coppell was brilliant at it, Alan Kirbyshire, my old boss, brilliant at it, just batting away every question without committing to anything. I think those days are gone a little bit. I think everyone expects a little bit more from you because football has moved on in terms of people's understanding, and what you can pretty much turn on any channel now and get some really good data and feedback from anybody in the studios, and I think managers have to cover that off.
Yeah, I think that Steve makes some outstanding points there, and the viewing public, their dissection of the game of football, the visuals that we have, and where on numerous technological platforms this game is going all over the world, Phil, but within a game, there's always a game within a game, and the coaches now, their expectations on them to speak about reasons why they've changed, personnel, players, subs that they've used, changes in formation in match as well. You've got to have the confidence, and often it can determine within an individual football match, Phil, the difference in terms of winning and losing, and the fans are much more, and like Steve says, the watching public, the pundits, the media, they're really sort of adrift of all of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Can I let's quickly have a look at the later games to come, and I'll get your thoughts on your games and these two as well. West Ham United at Villa at 4:30 this afternoon. Of course, Graham Potter, the West Ham United manager, has had a tough start to life as the Hammers boss, apart from against Fulham, of course. He accepts he's had to be creative with his forward line.
We're in a situation where in the first game we lost our centre forward and we lost Cree, and we're already without Jared and Mick as well, so we're a little bit light in that, and we've had to almost adapt. Mo has had to adapt a little bit, and Lucas Paqueta as well, so the team from an attacking perspective has just had to adjust, because it's obviously suboptimal, but Mo's taken every challenge on in a good way. I think we tried to use his physicality a little bit in that role. I think it worked to a certain extent, but not in other ways, which is probably normal. But I think he's one of those players that can play in lots of positions in the front three, and it's whether he's enjoying his football and we can get the ball enough to him, and he's not defending as much as maybe not defending as much as so that he takes away from his attacking idea. At the same time, he has a responsibility to help the team, and if we can get that balance right, we've got a top player.
Full commentary of that game a little bit later. What about Fulham against Manchester United? 7 o'clock tonight on DAB Digital Radio. Marco Silva says he's respectful of Manchester United, but he wants people to focus on his own team's achievements.
And to face and to play against a massive club, with the quality they have, and as you said, they showed a team that is capable to play like they did against Liverpool, Man City and Arsenal, as you said. You look for it, as always. For us, the most important thing is to look for ourselves and to respect our our identity, our philosophy, how we are competitive. All the other things is not for us. It's more about distractions that the people like to talk about. And when you are talking about a massive club like Man United, it's there, but it's not for me to talk. If you want to talk about the game and Man United game against Fulham, I'm here for it.
Just one more then on Manchester United though. Last week after that defeat to Brighton, Ruben Amorim described them as maybe the worst team in Manchester United history. I'm just asking you from a coaching perspective, from a psychological perspective, do you take that on face value that he meant that, or is that maybe trying to get a reaction?
As I said before, and we are here to talk about Fulham Man United. If you want comments from Man United, and if you want comments about what the people say, you have to ask for the people or for a different manager, not for me.
Bradley, Steve, I left that in with the part of the press conference there because it was continued actually asking about Manchester United, and Marco Silva got increasingly irritated about being asked about Manchester United. Yes, his team are playing Manchester United. I think the irritation he was feeling was that there wasn't enough focus on what his team had achieved. It was being focused on the fact they're above Man United, and he had to say in the end, well, we're above a lot of teams and we're focusing on teams above us. Is there a danger sometimes that the narrative gets lost because so much focus goes on these heritage clubs that are now struggling, that we don't give, or not we, that managers can get, fans can get, players can get a bit bored of the lack of respect? I mean, Steve, you were at Charlton and it would have been plucky Charlton in the Premier League, Charlton, and that's irritating in the end, isn't it?
Yeah, and I can see why he gets aggravated. I mean, he's not the calmest man anyway, so yeah, it is. He gets very irrational on the sidelines at times, but I quite like that about him. But what I would say is they've scored more goals than Manchester United. They conceded less goals than Manchester United. They're 7 points ahead of Manchester United. What have I got to do here to get Fulham in front of Manchester United when the press comes to town? It is irritating, and I can see why he gets frustrated and bats people away like that. Back in our day, and Bradley will have been involved in teams where you've completely outperformed a team with a bigger budget, higher up the league than you, and you come in or you read the press later that evening and it's nothing to do with how good you were, it's about how bad the opposition were, and that irritates as well. But that's been like that for some time, and it's all about the numbers game, Phil, isn't it? You know, who's going to get the hits and the likes? It's Man United has the biggest following, etc, etc. But it is very, very irritating for people involved in the smaller outfits that do really, really well.
Yeah, and
when you were top London team in the Premier League with QPR, Bradley, for example.
Yeah, and I think there he's right to sort of echo the Fulham message first and foremost, and how well the manager, the coaching staff, and the group of players that he's been working with now, the stability that they've got, established Premier League club, the quality of their performances, Phil, some of the goals that they're scoring. He's right first and foremost to highlight that. Yeah, you respect your opponents on any given day, and it happens to be Manchester United coming to town, and they're spectacular fall from grace for a good number of years, and another managerial change and another season of discontent and struggles really in the Premier League, and a game that Fulham should win. But the questions to Marco Silva about Manchester United, he doesn't really need to face that. No. He should be asked genuinely about his team first, and nothing more than that.
Right, Phil, can I just jump in there? I thought what you just raised there, the point and that press conference, I watched it, I thought it was fantastic, because you could see Marco Silva, he was I think if he had a choice, he'd say, look, I'm going to get up and leave this press conference now. He was so agitated with that line of questioning that he just thought, we're Fulham, we're above Manchester, forget about being above Manchester United. I love the point that he made, we are where we are and we're focusing on ourselves. I think that point that you raised, Phil, and listening to that audio is spot on.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Sahel. Let's have a little glimpse of the thoughts of the managers that you're going to be watching, Sahel and Steve. Crystal Palace, of course, taking on Brentford today. Palace lost the match when the two teams met at the start of the season. Ollie says things are a little different now.
Once again, it was the first game of the season. Many players just with 10 days in training. Some players were not here, and I think we are a different team right now, and in our physicality, in our way how we play, but that doesn't mean that we will automatically will win the game, because Brentford is doing really well. Yeah, we know that they have a lot of wins at home, and that's it, just one away win, but a very impressive 5-0 at Southampton, and they have a lot of pace in their attack with Schade, with Mbeumo. Also a very good strategy with Thomas Frank. I really have a lot of respect for him, what he's doing a great job at Brentford. And yeah, we watched the game again, but also their last games, and then we tried to find the right solutions.
Well, in the Premier League era, Thomas Frank admits there's been a lot of draws between these two clubs and acknowledges this one could be tight again.
Yeah, and I don't think before the opening day of the season we've never beaten Palace. I think it was 5 draws and a loss the first 6 games in the Premier League. And I think it's a very good team. I think they're back to that level they had in the back end of last year. I think they had that long run of very good games, very good level. Glasner is doing a very good job, very structured. You know exactly what to expect from them when you face them, and that actually doesn't make it easy. It makes it really difficult. They got a very good low and mid block, very difficult to break down, and then on the counter and half transition, and when it's a little bit open, I think their front three is really, really good and really in form. Arteta, Sarr and SA. They're a good player. So I expect a very difficult game, a very, very even game. Last time we managed to edge also a very even game, not only on paper but also in reality. So hopefully we can do the same. But we need to play our A game, no doubt about that.
Well, that's Ange Postecoglou. We'll hear from him in a minute. That's Ollie Glasner and Thomas Frank. Very quickly, Sahel and Steve. These are two, highly respected coaches, and quite rightly so. Much beloved by their fan bases. Thomas, of course, with longevity. But Ollie Glasner's come in, and also he's rocking a great sort of naval, sort of U-boat captain look at the moment, Sahel, which we're all loving.
He's, you know what, again, an earlier point you raised to Stephen Bradley there, he's another manager who answers every single question and explains the reasons. You actually like listening to his pre and post match press conferences. You feel like you learned something, and I think what he's done as well, he's steadied the ship this season. They had a horrible start, didn't they, Phil? In the first 8 games, beg your pardon, drew 3, lost 5, but now 5 unbeaten. And why not? Why not one of these sides, and Fulham as well, play, aim for the Europa Conference League / the Europa League next season? That should be their target. I think all London clubs, that should be their target, trying to play in Europe the following season.
Definitely. Steve and Sahel there at Selhurst Park. Commentary coming on the BBC Sport website and app. We'll keep you bang up to date with the progress here as well. Teams coming out at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. DAB digital radio commentary for this one this afternoon. We're also going to pay tribute to Gary Brooke, who's passed away recently at the age of 64. No age whatsoever. Regular face. We saw Gary around a lot. It's very sad news, Bradley, and they are going to, members of his family, gather on pitch side. There'll be a minute's applause in a minute. Let's hear from Ange Postecoglou, who has nothing but praise for his players, who are, with a very limited number of players in the squad at the moment, giving absolutely everything.
Yeah, no, I understand the question. It's not about me, it's about the players, and it is getting increasingly difficult for them to maintain performance, for sure, because they're giving everything, and it's a small group. Look, we should have some light in the end of the tunnel in the next couple of weeks. It's not as dire as, but at the same time, there's always the possibility that before those guys come back, the loads we're putting on these guys, we might lose a couple of these. So that's always the challenging bit, and that's what we've been going through. It's been 2 months of sort of hard grind for the players, and as I keep saying, just trying to support them as much as we can and help them through it. They're working awfully hard on not just game time, but in between games to recover and give themselves the best chance of putting in the performances that's needed at this level. Obviously our schedule is not going to ease up at all. Like I said, we've got a massive game this week, and we've got a massive week coming in a couple of weeks' time. So, but at the same time, the resilience and the determination of the players to still get out there and perform is a fantastic thing for me to sort of witness, and couldn't be prouder of them.
And the next challenge, of course, today against strugglers Leicester City.
Yeah, it'll be a tough game, as you said. Leicester are in a fight there to stay in the Premier League, and with those kind of games, they'll definitely come and try and make it as difficult as possible for us. But we're in our own tough moment in the league, and we're being at home, I think, will help us with the crowd. I think they can definitely give some energy to the players, and hopefully with a really good atmosphere, we can overcome the challenge.
Jim Mensah in the centre circle with Jamie Vardy. A exchange of pleasantries with the officials, shake of hands and a toss of the coin. Robert Jones is the referee today. The VAR is Chris Kavanagh, Ian Hussin and Neil Davis, the assistant referees, and Andrew Madley. Now over the PA, it's news, of course, of the sad death of Gary Brooke. Members of his family, his wife Jackie, and his children will be given great support by everyone inside the stadium today. Of course, part of the UEFA Cup winning side in the 80s, and was a regular in the press boxes of Tottenham Hotspur and Leyton Orient as well. Jones, the referee, blows the whistle, and that's Pat Jennings, who pitch side as well, alongside Ledley King, paying respects. Emotional moment for the family of Gary Brooke, as the lone trumpeter encourages the Spurs fans to give their team this real boost that they need, Bradley Allen, because energy levels are going to be tested. This group of players now have really been put through the ringer when it comes to their what they've had to do. They've travelled to the likes of Tamworth, most of them, out to Germany this week. Big emotional games against the likes of Liverpool in the League Cup semi-final. And they've just got to go to the well again and see how much that they can dig out from that well for this match.
Yeah, very much so, Phil. A lot of travelling amongst that, up and down the country, and midweek Europa League fixture, and an important win in that competition. But back to business, Premier League this afternoon.
So Spurs line up with a couple of changes from the midweek game at Hoffenheim, with Antonin Kinski between the sticks, Pedro Porro, Radu Dragisan, Archie Gray and Ben Davis the back four, midfield Lucas Bergwijn, Rodrigo Bentancur, Pape Matar, Dejan Kulusevski, Son Heung-min and Richarlison up top, and it's Son who slides it in field, but it's just tickled away by Jamie Vardy from Bentancur. Leicester going to try and play it out from the back. The long-haired, shaggy-haired Wout Faes goes long down the right-hand side looking for Jordan Ayew, the former Crystal Palace man, wins it and then gets clattered into, but that's a fair challenge, says the referee, by Bentancur. Ayew spills over 5 goals this season that would be a good return for him at Palace. He was never necessarily a prolific goal scorer, but what a worker he was for that Crystal Palace team.
Absolutely, good servant. Now at Leicester, in a side that have really struggled for goals. I think the one thing with Jordan Ayew, Phil, how many 1v1 duels is he going to be involved in, and free kicks that he's going to draw? He's pretty good at that.
Certainly is.
There's the first. Only a minute in.
They make just one change from the team beaten by Fulham last time out. Stolacic between the sticks, James Justin about face, Yannick Vestergaard and Victor Christensen their back four. Harry Winks making of course a return to Tottenham Hotspur. Boubakary Soumaré in midfield, and it's Jordan Ayew, Bilal El Khanous and Bobby Decord over Reed as they break forward towards the edge of the penalty area. Here's Vardy to his right, slides it towards Ayew, takes one step, he forces it down towards the byline, had to prod it out wide towards the right hand side, and Winks attacking the south stand end of the ground. Harry Winks almost gets it back, and then that's pinged off the sliding back of Pape Matar Sarr for a Leicester City
poor
try.
turnover, Phil, wasn't it? Essentially inside the Spurs half of the pitch by Sarr, and Khanous played it to Vardy unselfishly to Ayew, who we just spoke about, and he should have shot really in these wet conditions. He hesitated, and Spurs got players back in defence.
I just don't see him as a natural goal scorer, Bradley. That instinctive, that's in the boots of Vardy. He gets out of his feet and strikes it, and that maybe is the difference, but he does get up and down. Chelsea 0-0 with Arsenal with 15 to play in the Women's Super League this afternoon at Stamford Bridge, and it's been well worked out to Dejan Kulusevski from Richarlison down the right hand side for Tottenham Hotspur, edge of the penalty area, still with it, slides it into the 18-yard box, no one really there. Winks with the clearance, picked up though by Spurs, and here's Archie Gray. Son on the left, down 20 yards out from goal, into Pape Matar Sarr for Tottenham Hotspur in a promising position. 22% of goals scored from counter-attacks from Spurs. That didn't come from one. He was almost beyond all support, wasn't he, Kulusevski? Lovely feathered pass out to him, and here comes Spurs again down the right hand side. Pedro Porro, we know he can deliver a cross, just being slipped away by Vestergaard, and Leicester going to win a free kick. Pape Matar Sarr, referee Rob Jones says okay, we'll let that one go. It's a bit of a tug back on El Khanous, and here on the halfway line is Jordan Ayew for Leicester City again. It goes back to James Justin, and Ruud van Nistelrooy, their manager, 7 straight defeats in the Premier League for him. Bearded, former Manchester United man of course. He's had a tough start to life as the Leicester City boss, their second
striker he was back in the day. Prolific goal scorer. But the game has started, Phil, with a vibrancy, isn't it? A speed and an intent, I think, for both sides to get on the score sheet fairly early on. We expect goals in this one.
Well, Leicester entering the last chance saloon type scenario. I know it seems early in the season to say that, but Everton with back-to-back wins, hate to mention the first one, but beat Brighton again yesterday, and they've pushed themselves into a much more promising position. And here come Leicester though, cross towards Ayew on the right hand side of the penalty area, doesn't take it first time, drifted away from him. Goal kick's been awarded to Antonin Kinski, and the former Slavia Prague stopper rolls it forward to the Welsh international skipper Ben Davies, and here's Sarr in midfield for Tottenham. White shirts with navy sleeves, navy shorts and white socks. Son gets clattered into by the royal blue kit wearing James Justin for Leicester City, and it's a free kick inside the Spurs half. 0-0.
Yeah, Khanous, I think, the Belgium Leicester number 11, just sort of as the supporting striker with Vardy, ball in behind. I'll come back to you. Richarlison,
little nudge, he's round the goalkeeper, not quite. Big palm stuck out by Jakub Stolacic, who just blocks it away from the Brazilian, and it's Leicester who come away with it, but again over the top.
That was challenged from the long ball. The number 3 face. He wanted a free kick there. The ref allowed the game to continue. Whether that would have been checked, Richarlison with the advantage might have done better. I know it was a long ball and he had to pluck it out of the sky there, Phil, but it skidded through to keeper Stolacic.
Spurs breaking down the left hand side, this time with Son, who's got an overlapping run from Archie Gray, the former Leeds United, I was going to say former youngster, but he's still very young. He's got away from James Justin, and he's hauled down by Justin, and the Leicester right back has got to be riding very close to a yellow card.
Next one will be a yellow, a talking to by the ref. Free kick, good position, Spurs left hand side. The captain Son can whip this one right underneath the crossbar.
There's no such thing as a yellow card for persistent offending, is there really? But the referee can mark down you know, that's not a yellow card offence. The previous one wasn't probably a yellow card offence, but he knows he's now on his radar.
I think it's a tricky decision. What you would say, the way Gray wriggled away from the Leicester fullback and going towards the byline, Phil, there is an advantage to the Tottenham player that he's not been allowed to have because of the wrestle by Justin and the foul that took place.
Son, 352nd start for Tottenham Hotspur for Son Heung-min, well over 400 appearances, approaching 450. Will take this free kick over on the left-hand touchline, 15 yards up from the byline. Not happy with the placement of the ball. Referee sorting out some shenanigans just on the penalty spot between the attackers of Spurs and the defenders of Leicester City. Left arm goes up in the air from Spurs, who took the lead at the King Power earlier this season. It's swept towards the far post and patted away by the goalkeeper. Just managed to scrape it clear of the likes of Lucas Bergvall and Pedro Porro. And Rodrigo Bentancur, who now concedes a throw-in on the far touchline, and Leicester City have defended their 6-yard box with that. But that was a really well taken teasing free kick.
It was. He took his time, did Son, and he put it in with curl towards that far post area, and the goalkeeper, under pressure and numerous challenges there, did well to help it on its way out of the Leicester City penalty box.
Well, Leicester City, as you can imagine, struggling with goals for and against. Jamie Vardy is their leading scorer with 7 so far this season. He's the penalty taker as well. Behind him they've got Ayew with 5 and Mavididi with 5, but they've stolen the ball, and here goes Ayew, and he bursts away from one challenge into the area, couldn't get the shot away. Enough players back, including Dragusan, but Spurs have turned over possession again. Here's Leicester on the edge of the Tottenham penalty area, Justin down the right hand side. He just swept into his path, and he brings it back under control. Little sidestep from Soumare in midfield. The cross in towards Vardy is blocked away, and now it's going to be Dejan Kulusevski, put under a little bit of pressure by El Khanous, and Kulusevski, the Swedish international, forced backwards to Dragusan, and the Romanian international hacks it away. Then it's a volleyed clear by Porro towards the halfway line. Vestergaard nibbles a header into Winks, and Wout Faes, who for quite a long period of time, Bradley, had more goals for Liverpool than Leicester, because you remember he scored 2 own goals in one game against the Reds.
I think Leicester are gaining some encouragement here, and you just sense within the stadium there's a bit of nerves, isn't there?
Yeah.
Tottenham have had some moments offensively. You know, the Kulusevski break down the right hand side in the early minutes. However, there's not much control really in their performance so far.
Long ball down the left hand side for Bobby Decordova-Reid, but gloved, short sleeve. The former Fulham, Bristol City man, and Cardiff, as here come Spurs again, but another wayward pass out from right back from Pedro Porro. Few more groans. Ange Postecoglou trying to get some energy into his team. It's a chip over the top. El Khanous will chase and win it and keep it in down the byline on the left hand side. Decordova-Reid with him. El Khanous disguised the cross. Now he flicks it in towards Winks. He won't get there first. Hacked away by Bentancur, but Yannick Vestergaard is going to truckle back into his own half to bring it under control, and Wout Faes curls it towards his goalkeeper Jakub Stolarczyk. 5 goals, by the way, Faes has now scored for Leicester, 2 for Liverpool. So not bad return for the Reds, as now they break down the left hand side again, and Porro is called out of position, and here come Leicester City. Ayew, edge of the D, tried to side foot it from inside the D. Spurs have cleared their line. Leicester with another shot, takes a deflection, and it's patted down by Anton Kinski. And there is an edginess, Bradley, you're absolutely right, around this crowd inside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Yeah, you know, Spurs tried to get up the pitch when it went forward. Bentancur and Song pressed, but the distances then with the supporting players was too big. Leicester played on the outside. The left full back Christensen, you know, did terrifically well to get beyond Porro, cut it back, and Ayew almost had a bit of time, didn't he, edge of the box to control it. It was a rather, you know, tepid finish really, first time, and it was blocked away. But there's definitely some nervous players out here, and ones that are making some poor decisions in possession of the ball.
The poor turnover, and El Khanous is able to latch onto it, and it's filtered in behind Dragusan. Vardy trying to play off the shoulder. The 38-year-old though couldn't beat the stretch of the leg of the Romanian international with the top knot atop his head. Bradley keeping his hair neat and tidy, and Son breaks in off the left hand side, but again his first touch isn't great, and then he loses it to Wout Faes, and at the moment the turnovers are really costly, but not too costly, because Leicester are unable to capitalise but Spurs not taking care of the ball as their manager would like to see. Maybe they will now. 10 gone, 0-0. Slammed across from Pedro Porro on the switch to Son down the left-hand side. The South Korean international just levers it back to Archie Gray halfway inside the Leicester City half, and on the halfway line it's the Welsh international Ben Davies, who again is, I mean, the problem is you've got players who are maybe shattered, you've got other players who are maybe not match sharp at this moment in time, and Ben Davies is one of them. Limited opportunities this season.
Having had some time out, you know, you've had players that maybe weren't considered or been thrust back in, and then, you know, that challenging games programme. Good switch of play, Bentancur to Son. Chance.
Left-hand side of the penalty area, takes it infield a little bit too far, couldn't get the shot away. Bentancur finds Archie Gray. Sarr wide of him on the left-hand side, just outside the Leicester City penalty area on BBC Radio London Sport and DAB on a Sunday afternoon. A very lengthy Sunday afternoon. Papa Mate Sarr with a shot, which is a daisy cutter all the way through to Jakub Stolacic. That's a comfortable save, but it gets a ripple of applause from the home fans. 0-0.
Yeah, keep working the ball on this left-hand side. Gray starting to support. It's time Sarr, who's had a bit of an indifferent start really, in possession of the ball. Hit a pretty good shot, edge of the box, skimmed through to the Leicester City goalkeeper.
0-0. Crystal Palace against Tottenham Hotspur in the WSL as well. Palace bottom of the table, Tottenham in the top half going into that game. Ayew's picked up a head injury and the referee's going to have to stop play. Ruud van Nistelrooy was indicating to Rob Jones that there was a contact between the heads on the back of Jordan Ayew's head. He's rubbing the back of it, and purely accidental, I think. Rodrigo Bentancur comes to check on him as it was
12 minutes in, probably the game. And more importantly, the players just needed a reset. Don't they? They can, you know, just get their second wind here and gather their thoughts a little bit and start to improve the decision making, certainly in possession of the ball, because as you highlighted, there has been, you know, quite a bit of turnover already.
Papa Mate Sarr just clumping Ayew accidentally on the back of the head. 13 played, 0-0. Lights are on inside the stadium. Golden cockerel being lit from underneath and a grey skies above us. 0-0 in our other featured game in the Premier League at 2 o'clock, I believe. It's Brentford against Crystal Palace. In the WSL, Chelsea have just taken the lead against Arsenal, as here comes a cross from Archie Gray into the 6-yard box. It's Bergvall who tries to make something out of it. Back it comes to Porro, who smashes a shot. Saved by Stolacic, picked up by Son down the left-hand side of the area. He squirts in across, and it's shuffled away by Face towards this near touchline. Brightest moment of the game. Bergvall couldn't get it from out of his feet initially. Set up Porro, forced a good save.
Yeah, left wing cut back cross. Bergvall, aggressive run into the Leicester City penalty box. He skidded, he kept the ball alive, and through a ruck of bodies, Porro struck. It was a good height, and away to his right hand side. Stolacic made a good save.
Get her right with the goal for Chelsea from the penalty spot. Katie McCabe being sent off. Crowd of almost 35,000 at Stamford Bridge for that, as here comes Son again, whips in across from the left hand side into the 6-yard box. Gathered comfortably though by Stolacic, but after a rather scrappy, error-laden opening 10 minutes really from Spurs, they've created a couple of opportunities now in the last minute or so, Bradley.
They certainly have. Great play out from Winkso. Leicester building down their left-hand side. But, you know, this fixture right at the start of the season, Phil, we mustn't forget Spurs' first half were completely dominant, and it was a game really, they rude missed opportunities, and Leicester come back into it, didn't they, at the King Power, and got something out the fixture.
Here's a cross from James Justin. A clearance goes up into the air and has to be poked up over the bar by the big right mitt of Antonin Kinski. Rather awkward attempted clearance from Ben Davies, goes straight up.
If there's a solution for the game this afternoon, Phil, hard and low crosses, hard and low shots in these conditions. It was awkward for Ben Davies, it coming fast from Leicester's right, he sliced it left foot. Kinski no chances from underneath the crossbar. He tips it over Leicester corner here. Ayew to take.
Yeah, Ayew with the corner for Leicester City at the south end of the ground, where the Golden Cockerel is above this 17,000 seater single span stand. Elfsberg here big night in Europe on Thursday. They go short to El Khanous, drives in across, headed away by Richarlison into midfield. Winks plucks it out of the air, dribbles away from Rodrigo Bentancur onto his right boot. Winks, who slides it infield towards Wout Faes, and then he plays it behind him. It'll be met though by Christensen on the left, who shears it down that left hand side. Back at Selhurst Park shortly as here goes Bobby Dover-Reid, tries to drive out across. Archie Gray though is there to dispossess the former Fulham man and clip it clear up the touchline, only as far as Christensen, but he's conceded a throw in, so we'll call in at Palace Brentford and Sahel Sahi.
We played 16 minutes here, Phil. Crystal Palace 0, Brentford 0. It's been steady so far in these first 16 minutes. Crystal Palace with the first chance through Mateta as they picked him out. Mateta roared into the penalty area, left-footed shot which was palmed over by Flecken, but pretty even so far. Crystal Palace 0, Brentford 0.
Commentary on the BBC Sport website and app for that one this afternoon. Tottenham Hotspur have taken the lead in the WSL. Beth England scoring against Crystal Palace, and Jordan Ayew's flattened Pape Matar Sarr in midfield to the right of the centre circle in the Spurs half of the pitch, and it'll be a free kick to the home team. 16.5 played, Bradley Allen. Tottenham Hotspur 0, Leicester City 0. Good turnout from the Leicester fans, as you would imagine. It's been a difficult season. They're already on to their second manager. There's already been rumours that they could move on to a third. Ruud van Nistelrooy could face an 8th straight defeat today. Did beat QPR in the Cup in the fog, and here comes Spurs down the left hand side. Son stepping in field from that flank, gets away from Ayew, tracks a shot. Oh, it's been just tickled wide by the fingertips of Stanaki. Brilliant from Hyun-Min Son, brilliant from the goalkeeper. It's a corner kick and nothing more. 17 played, 0-0.
Well, Son's looked really sharp in this game. Like you say, his Tottenham Hotspur appearances continue to rack up. A terrific effort, almost one of his classic trademark curling shots into the corner, lifted the crowd.
Yeah,
Tottenham Hotspur set play here.
Corner kick, right hand side. Porro will take it. Brilliant goalkeeping, to be fair, to for Stelacic as well, to deny it. But what can they do from the corner into the 6-yard box? Heads go up, but it's Jordan Ayew who gets it away. Pape Matar Sarr to bring it under control, being put under pressure by Bobby Dover-Reid, who's discarded the gloves. I'm pleased to tell you, Bradley, short sleeves and gloves for him. The extremities, though, being felt by the likes of Ayew and Vardy. They've both got gloves on at the moment. And here's Ben Davis slipping it into the centre circle. Bentancur for Spurs, who've gained a bit of control in this game now, with 18 minutes gone.
Yeah, I've recently said I think actually one of the players that Spurs have most definitely missed, you talk about Van der Ven and Romero at the heart of the defence, has actually been Bentancur.
Yeah.
Through suspension or injury and other factors. He's the one, that number 6 that can sit in there, that can connect and play simple passes.
Yeah. Archie Gray's done well, finds Pape Matar Sarr, who goes to ground and then handles the ball. He thought he was fouled by El Khanous, but
ref's not having that one. He thought it was overrun, the momentum that was the reason why he fell to the ground. Leicester free kick given for handball.
Just looking at the replay, I think he was falling over.
It was toppling, wasn't he?
Yeah, as you say, it's one of those ones where he's leaning forward and his body weight just starts the momentum and gravity take hold. He falls over. He feels a bit of contact, but the contact was minimal, and he was already falling. So free kick goes for the handball Leicester's way. Ayew rises, flicks it on into the penalty area, bobbles down towards Kinski, who's had a bit of a time of it since arriving at Spurs. League Cup semi-final first leg, a game at Tamworth.
Yeah, all action.
FA Cup. It's certainly been an interesting introduction to English football for Kinski, but he seems like the character who can deal with it. And here's Richarlison, flag goes up against him, he takes the shot. Stelacic made the save, but the flag had gone up against Richarlison. The ball wasn't necessarily intended for him, he didn't think, and as he actually then eventually latched onto it, he was
he's just beyond the Leicester City back four there, wasn't he, Richarlison, in his start position as the Tottenham Hotspur number 9. But I think nearly 20 minutes in of the two coaches, with the scoreline as it is, Ruud van Nistelrooy will be fairly content, Phil, won't he?
Now it's Leicester's turn.
Oh dear.
It slipped through towards Vardy. Little bit of misfortune. Now he finds Deckled over Reed. Tries a bit of skill to take it around Archie Gray. Ben Davis was there though, alert. Managed to scrape it out of play on the far touchline for a Leicester City throw.
Yeah, I think the deflection there from Bentancur took it almost through for Vardy to go towards goal. It come to Deckled over Reed, but Spurs regrouped Century and just about got it away. But Leicester now building in that final third.
He may not have the lightning pace he used to have, Jamie Vardy, but he's still a wily old fox, isn't he? And he knows where to be and how to play. And here's James Justin breaking in off the right-hand side, striking a left-footed shot straight though.
First touch was good. Switch of play, left the right-hand side from Leicester, and James's touch took him beneath two Spurs players to allow the opportunity for the 20-yard shot, but Kingsley took that one comfortably.
0-0 at Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace against Brentford. 0-0 here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs against Leicester. 21 minutes played. Later this afternoon, the whole of Aston Villa against West Ham United, and then at 7 o'clock it's Fulham against Manchester United on the BBC here in London. As Bentancur again sweeps it out wide towards the left-hand side. Son brings it under control halfway inside the Leicester half. Overlapping run on the left, flanked by Archie Gray, provided by the youngster. Ever willing to get forward, checks back infield and a cross which goes with a deflection almost out for a corner kick, but Stolarczyk is there to just pat it away from drifting over the byline, and with 22 minutes gone things slowed down. It's the atmosphere is funny. I don't know, Bradley, different times of day. Earlier Sunday atmospheres always strike me as being not as impassioned as later in the day. Evening atmospheres are really, really strong, but I don't know whether it's because people are expecting to have their Sunday lunch or something, Bradley, but it all feels
might be. But fair play to those that have turned out once again in force this afternoon, because the weather conditions in the capital across the morning and now to this afternoon have been pretty miserable, Phil, haven't they?
Yes, yeah, it was bright right at the beginning of the morning, but the rain came in. I don't know if you've been doing the Great Garden Bird Watch for the RSPB this weekend. Yesterday probably would have been a better day. Today they're all hunkering down. Here is Son slipping it in field. Back it comes to the halfway line, and Bentancur on the edge of the centre circle. He looks for the flaxen-haired Bergvall. Up ahead of him he's got options, but he slides it square to Ben Davis. All this happening inside the Leicester half, but just only man back is Kinski now inside the Spurs half. Son is being hassled and harried too much by a combination of Ayew and Justin. Takes his time getting to his feet, does the South Korean skipper. 32 these days is Son Heung-min. Extension to his contract for next year. I mean, the record books are tumbling in many respects. 172 goals, as I said, approaching 450 appearances for Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, you know, he could really push himself further up alongside the true Tottenham Hotspur legends, Phil, can't he, with appearances?
Absolutely. May not be a statue at the moment, but there's certainly going to be a lounge in the future, and we're heading towards statue type territory, if you see what I mean, when it comes to his status and longevity, commitment, what he's done, what he's been involved with for Tottenham Hotspur, now wearing the captain's armband. But here come Leicester down the left hand side with Christensen. Rare foray forward for Leicester in the last 10 minutes or so. The Copenhagen-born 22-year-old slipped towards El Kanous. Spurs win it back though on turnover. Can they capitalise? Kulusevski down the right-hand side. Closed down though, and it will be run away by Leicester City in the shape of Soumare, and he's driving 30-40 yards inside the Spurs half. On the left-hand side finds El Kanous, stabbed in field. Pape Matar comes away with it. Bobby Deckled over Reed, putting a little bit of pressure on Rodrigo Bentancur. Has he run it over the whitewash? He has, and that'll be a Leicester City throw. 24 and a half played, 0-0. Bradley Allen.
Yeah, I think firstly there, Kanous, he'd drive your teammates mad. He'd just give the ball away and then straight away with an unnecessary flick, turn possession over cheaply. But at least there was a reaction there. And locked to the far byline. Bentancur couldn't get out, so they sort of keep the momentum of the attack here with a throw-in that Christensen will take on Leicester's left-hand side.
El Kanous, the 20, he's only 20, Moroccan international, in the running for Young African Player of the Year, across towards Vardy. He's headed away by Dragosan, trying to sneak in behind the Romanian was Vardy. One back by Spurs into midfield. Richarlison's downward header is met by Justin. That's Dragosan is being forced backwards by Bobby de Cordova-Reid, and the Romanian, wearing a bit of strapping on his left wrist, has to clip it out of play for a throw in to Leicester on the left hand side, which the Dane Christensen will take. Looked like a bit of a foul throw. You don't get those these days though, Bradley, as Christensen tries to get around Pedro Porro. The Spaniard is then just pushed over by Christensen, who thought he had a fair challenge to try and get the ball. He berates the referee, Rob Jones.
Just really silly. I mean, it's Porro's running out of room. He's trying to usher the ball over the byline. Kinski, the Spurs goalkeeper, will go and collect the football. Tottenham free kick and play this one forward. You know, it's just starting to fall into a bit of a stop-start, scruffy Premier League fixture, Phil, with what's at stake. Somebody somewhere needs to find a little bit of quality here. Beth England's make the difference.
Made it 2-0 to Tottenham Hotspur against Crystal Palace in the WSL. Arsenal have been beaten by Chelsea. Guto Reiten's penalty in the 82nd minute, I think 84th minute actually, was the only goal of the game. Katie McCabe sent off as a consequence. You've got to say that Chelsea are heading towards the title again. 9-point lead over Manchester City, 10-point lead over Arsenal. Yeah, I mean, City have lost 3 games, Arsenal have now lost 2. They say in the WSL if you lose any more than 2 you certainly can't win it, as it's been headed away by James Justin here. Ayew loses out for Leicester City. Winks scrambling around trying to win the ball back, takes it away from Archie Gray. Back at Selhurst Park in a moment or two as Leicester try and break. Good press from Spurs though. Can't get over the halfway line, Leicester. Now they do as they stretch it down the right hand side for Vardy. He's up against Dragosan, still with it. Jamie Vardy clips in across, and it's easily gathered by Kinski, and we'll go to South London. Palace against Brentford. Sahel Sahit.
Still goalless here, Phil, at Selhurst Park. We played 28 minutes, but Wissat had an opportunity since you were with us last. Played to him on the edge of the area. He turned and shot right-footed, arrowed effort. It was going in, but Henderson did really well. Used all of his 6'2" frame to get a hand to it and turn it around for a corner, which was dealt with by the home side. Much more even. Brentford more into this game, but still no goals. 28 minutes played. Crystal Palace 0, Brentford 0.
Commentary on the BBC Sport website and app of that one, as there is of this, as well as here on DAB Digital Radio on a Sunday afternoon. Gabby Roslin on 94.9 FM. Fear not, you can always get it back in your life if you're missing Gabby's show by listening to BBC Sounds whenever you want, later on today or tomorrow. 28 played here, still no goals, Bradley, and what is it? Rain still pouring down inside North London, and Ben Davies has possession. He finds Dragosan halfway inside the Spurs half.
Yeah, I think, you know, apart from really the excellent curling effort from Son,
over the top for Pape Matasar to chase out to the edge of his penalty area comes the goalkeeper Stalakit, but
when either side have made progress and got towards that final third, the final ball, the little bit of quality, a clinical finish, and the ball striking techniques have been missing a little bit, haven't they? And that's why no goals on the scoreboard yet in this one.
0-0. Free kick for the offside, as you quite rightly pointed out, Bradley, that Pape Matasar was beyond the back line when the ball came in, and so it's a free kick for Leicester to try and get it towards the Spurs half of the pitch. And Starkett taking his time, and I suppose you can understand that as well. Leicester, you know, the longer it goes 0-0, Leicester will be pretty content with this as Vardy brings it under control. They'd take a point at this moment in time, maybe try and nick a goal. I was very much offside, very simply caught offside there. Interesting as well, Bradley, that I think we've had somewhere in the region of 8 shots so far, and all but 2 of them have been from outside of penalty areas, so it probably says quite a lot about where the game is at this moment in time.
That's right.
Spurs fans expressing their dissatisfaction with the boardroom, I think, in the background there at 29.5 minutes in this game, 0-0. Scant entertainment, apart from that Son shot really, which is well palmed behind for a corner kick by Stalakit. There's not been that much that has sprung into life. Maybe Bergvall can do something, and finding Archie Gray on the left hand side, steps away from Jordan Ayew. Here in the centre circle is Dragosan, just on the halfway line for Tottenham Hotspur. Navy shirts, white socks as well. As in off the left-hand flank comes Dejan Kulusevski. He was being manhandled, and the referee has given the free kick. He was letting that play on from an advantage point of view when nothing came to it.
Yeah.
Good refereeing, Rob Jones. He's blown for the free kick.
Well, they know, don't they, Leicester, the fullbacks especially, Christensen and James, that with Son and Kulusevski looking to be in the mood and to Spurs' better players. They've had their work cut out so far in some 1v1s, and they're treading a bit of a fine tightrope here, aren't they, with the referee? And I think a yellow card is pretty imminent for either of them. But free kick here, Porro to take for Tottenham Hotspur.
85th appearance for Spurs for Pedro Porro. Steps back before whipping it in, born in Don Benito. The 25-year-old. We know he's got a vicious lasher on if he wants it. He gives it plenty of height, and that's going to be supposedly meat and drink for the goalkeeper. Makes a bit of a hash of it, punches it clear. It's met by Son on the edge of the penalty area. He clips it across. It's off the frame of the goal. Maybe a touch from the goalkeeper. A cross come almost shot. He spotted the goalkeeper a couple of yards further forward than he should have been. Almost caught him out. Another cross in towards the far post, and it's just headed away from Ben Davies, who was attacking that. And Leicester City run it clear with Ayew, and he tries to smack it towards the halfway line just to relieve the pressure. 31 and a half minutes played, 0-0.
That's lifted the crowd again. Kulusevski, Son involved. It was a cross-come shot, you're absolutely right. And I think it deceived the goalkeeper initially. He flung himself backwards, he fingertipped it onto the crossbar. It's the closest that Spurs have come.
0-0, 32 on the clock. BBC Radio London on a Sunday afternoon. It's a long one for us. Chelsea have beaten Arsenal in the WSL. Tottenham are 2-0 up against bottom team Crystal Palace in that competition as well. And here comes Kulusevski on the right hand side for Spurs, headed away from him by Christensen, nibbled back by Porro. Kulusevski being manhandled by Christensen, slides it to Pape Matar. Porro's waiting on the right hand side. It's curved out wide to him by Sarr, and here comes the cross for Richarlison, and Spurs take the lead. Cross from Pedro Porro, and Richarlison timed his run perfectly and cushions it beyond the Leicester City goalkeeper. They're on their feet inside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and Spurs lead. Richarlison with the goal. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Leicester 0.
Great central positioning from the Spurs number 9. Worked it really well out to Porro. It's a wicked cross that he's whipped in from that right hand side, and Richarlison was ready. He was on the move. Used the pace of the delivery between defenders, downward header. That's a super finish and a top goal. It's just been starting to come for Tottenham, Phil, hasn't it, the last couple of minutes, and they've nudged themselves in front.
Well, he had to just make an adjustment with his neck because he'd almost run beyond the ball, Bradley, and he just stopped, got his head around the ball and cushioned it into the net. Good striker play from Richarlison, but if you look at it, he'd almost gone beyond it. So did well to get it in the back of the net. 1-0.
Yeah, fabulous finish, and just what Tottenham Hotspur and their supporters needed. 1-0.
Well, it makes the game different now, doesn't it? Because Leicester City have to get dragged out in a different way, and it's going to leave them somewhat exposed. And here comes Son, great skill down the left-hand side, runs up against Wout Faes. That's a throw into Spurs on the halfway line. 33 and a half minutes played. 1-0 Tottenham Hotspur.
Yeah, I think in a perfect world here, Phil, the momentum and the forces with Spurs, and just that encouragement, that excellent Richarlison goal will give them. If they can get a second here, I cannot see Leicester scoring 3 goals in this match. That might be enough for Tottenham this afternoon in what would be a really important result in this Premier League.
Well, they've scored just 2 goals in the last 7 games in the Premier League of Leicester City. Full stop, Bradley. So to get 2 in a game is going to be a bit of a challenge. 10 of their 14 points came in the opening 10 games of the season. It's not been a happy hunting ground since. Rolled back into midfield. Winks though, slipping it in towards James Justin. Takes it away from what challenge, gets a shot. Deflected wide, corner kick Leicester.
Definite corner, brilliant from James. I think that shot was going in, Phil.
Yeah, they don't want to concede.
I'm not sure Dragosan knew much about Ben Davies. Knew much about it. He sort of stood firm. It hit the outside of his right Achilles, and it just flicked the ball a couple of yards wide of that far post. If that was on target, that might have even sneaked in beyond Kingsley, left-hand corner. Leicester City have earned themselves a set play here.
Well, Spurs fans getting behind their team to give them encouragement to defend this corner. Leicester City have it over on that left-hand touchline at front of the south stand. 10 to go before the break. Spurs leading 1-0. Movement inside the 18-yard box. Vardy's trying to make a move towards the near post. Richarlison takes it away from in front of his goalkeeper. Concedes another corner kick.
Yeah, he did well. Maybe not a loud enough shout from Kingsley. Took no chances. Did his job in that near post zonal position there. Richarlison, and headed it up and over the crossbar and into the south stand for his team.
Corner kick again on the same side. What will be the routine on this particular occasion from Leicester City. Spurs fans standing up in the south stand behind this as it's curled near post, punched away by Kinski into midfield. Winks now has it for Leicester City, who trail 1-0, but he gives it plenty of air towards the far post. James Justin tries to keep it in. May have hurt himself doing so. Spurs try and break forward. Christensen trying to stop Kulusevski pretty effectively actually from the Danish defender against the Swedish attacker for Spurs, and a throw-in conceded by Leicester on that far touchline. 1-0 Tottenham.
Good punch, taking the pressure off of the defenders there from young goalkeeper Kingsley. Just seeing the replay of Porro's fab cross and brave diving headed finish from Richarlison. Lovely goal.
Leicester have won it back. 1-0 Spurs lead. Here in midfield they have Soumare with it. He's going to have to slide it back to the halfway line, and Vestergaard finding Winks in the centre circle, turns away from Pape Matar. Has done very well to find Soumare halfway inside the Tottenham Hotspur half of the pitch. Leicester trailing by a goal to nil. They were at home when these two teams met, of course. Pedro Porro scored in the first half of that game, and Jamie Vardy equalised as it's launched towards Decordova-Reid inside the penalty area. It's nudged clear of him by Porro, and Leicester coming to retrieve with Christensen. It seems to be lightening a little bit the sky, or is that just because the floodlights are getting brighter? I think it's the floodlights, Bradley. 0-0 at Selhurst Park. Palace against Brentford. Victory for Chelsea in the WSL against Arsenal, and they now have a 9-point lead to Sonia Bompasta side. And then it's a great tackle from Dragusin, takes it away from Christensen, and Spurs can try and break on the left-hand side. Christensen's won it back though, and it's given El Khanous possession of the ball. Drifts clear of one challenge. His shot takes a deflection. It loops onto the roof of the net. It's another corner kick to Leicester.
Yeah,
and poor turnover from Tottenham again gives Leicester a chance.
I think sometimes once some initial defending has took place from Spurs this afternoon, Phil, and that first pass into midfield, that's where Leicester, to be fair, have had a bit of bite, haven't they? They've pressed early, and at times between them Bentancur and Sarr maybe have been caught, and that's allowed some attacking moments for Leicester from the transition. But another corner here. These are just starting to rack up.
Yeah. And
Soumari's just inside the box there, pushing over Bentancur. The referee just steps in and tells him to get up. Bit of a coming together, nothing more.
Yeah, a little bit of a word to Boubakary Soumare. Him and Bentancur just there's not a lot in it, Bradley, to be perfectly honest. Just a bit of pushing and shoving. Soumare's right in the goal mouth at the moment. It'll be the Ghanaian international Jordan Ayew who's going to take this corner kick over on the left hand side. 38.5 minutes played. Spurs leading by a goal to nil. Kinski's going to have to not be distracted by what's going on between Bentancur and Soumare. As it goes far post, Feist attacks it, and that's a goal kick.
Ben Davies did ever so well there. It looped far post beyond the goalkeeper, and he jumped, and Feist actually, like from 3 yards out, he's pretty much under the crossbar. Phil, he almost did the harder thing there to head it over.
Yeah.
If he heads anything down there on the contact, that would have been a certain equaliser.
Bit worrying though. I think Archie Gray is down.
Yeah, he might have
just picked up a bit of a knock from Feist as he came flying in to try and head that. No, it's not. It's Bergvall, shall I say. He's getting hauled up to his feet. Ripple of applause. He's okay. He's a tough old character. It's Bergvall. Just see how this happened. Yeah, I mean, actually, I think it was Ben Davies who sort of batted into him a little bit, but it's a goal kick, which will be taken by Kinski, and Davis actually is allowed to take it instead inside the 6 yard box. 5 and a bit to go before the break. 1-0 Spurs lead on BBC Radio London Sport on a soggy Sunday afternoon on DAB Digital Radio. More live football to come on Tuesday night, Bradley. Portsmouth against Millwall. Big win for Millwall yesterday at Luton. Ivanovic with a stunning strike in the second half. Luton are in all sorts of problems. They're in a hot mess at the moment at Luton Town as Winks brings the ball under control for Leicester, bounces off one challenge, tries to slam it forward into the Spurs half. Tottenham come away with it. Benson Quarter, Archie Gray on the left hand side, shuffles it forward towards Son. Justin manages to bundle it over the whitewash for a throw in front of Ruud van Nistelrooy, and Archie Gray will take it. It's a throw on this left hand side. We'll go to Selhurst Park, shall we? Heading towards half time here, as they are at Selhurst Park. Palace Brentford, Sahel Sahi.
Shot around from Vissa. 4 minutes to play in this set. First half, Phil. Crystal Palace 0, Brentford 0. Still a shot apiece from both sides, which have tested each other's goalkeepers respectively. But we're a bit of a stalemate here. Both sides having their moments, not really conjuring anything up of note just yet since you were with us last. Crystal Palace 0, Brentford 0.
Thank you very much indeed. 1-0 to Tottenham Hotspur here. Bradley.
It's been pretty straightforward, Phil, hasn't it?
Yeah.
1 or 2 sort of half moments offensively for Leicester. They've got to, like you say, come out a little bit more. They might have an opportunity here down their right hand side.
El Khanous back heel. Jordan Ayew slips on the moistened surface of the pitch, so it allows Spurs to bring it back, but then they've given it to Jordan Ayew, and then Pape Matar Sarr gets caught by Ayew.
Bad decision that the ref. He could have given it another couple of seconds. It is a free kick. You understand why he's whistled, but maybe 2 or 3 more seconds, because Spurs was certainly counter-attacking, breaking towards the halfway line.
Yeah, they were, weren't they? Ayew lost the ball. Both players are okay, everyone's up, and now they go long for Pedro Porro over the top, and he's got in behind Vestergaard, needs a bit of support, goes for goal instead, cracks it into the side netting.
Well, he was waiting. He's the Spurs right back, remember?
Yeah.
He was almost a number 9 there, right channel, ball in behind, pretty direct from Tottenham. And he had no choice maybe to go for the effort that ended up in the side netting, because Spurs just didn't quite have the energy to get up and support him with that.
And then the cutback was cut out by Vestergaard, so he thought he might as well have a go, see what he could get for it. Went to the side netting, could have got a corner. Goalkeeper has to make a save. Bradley, there's always those sort of options as well. 2 and a bit minutes to go before the break plus added time. 1-0 Tottenham lead. Bergvall's chest trap. Rolls up his chest over his head. He has to go and retrieve it from behind himself, and goes back to Kinski inside his own penalty area. And here's Dragosan, who's going to be pressurised by Vardy, who slides in and concedes the goal kick. And Garu Dragosan was unhappy with that. The referee's given the goal kick.
It's not a goal kick. It's an aggressive challenge, wasn't it? As he slid in, Vardy, but he had a bit of a free hit there. He was facing his own byline, the Spurs centre half. But I think you make a key point, Phil. I think, if you look at this game all told and what Spurs have had to encounter over the last sort of 6-8 weeks, and the physical demands on these individuals, all at sort of different levels. Some played loads of games, too many games, some would argue. Some coming back into it and returning from long-term injuries and a spell on the sidelines. Maybe the last half hour, some of these younger players might have to be considered just to give them a bit of youthful exuberance and get this result over the line and that final push. That's
poor back pass, and Richarlison couldn't capitalise.
The guy was lucky there.
It was a dreadful back pass. Richarlison, though, not quite on his toes, and he couldn't win the ball back. Spurs have it though inside their own half. But the bench for Spurs: Brandon Austin, Sergio Reguilon, Yves Bissouma, and then it's another young South Korean player, Yang Min Hyuk, Will Lancashire, Mikey Moore, Damanola Ajayi, and Callum Olasese, who made his debut in Europe midweek at Hoffenheim. That's on the bench for Leicester, by the way. Daniel Everson, the goalkeeper, Connor Cody, Caleb Akoli, Steffi Mavrididi, Patson Daka, Oliver Skip, Wayo Koulibaly, Casey McAteer, and Facundo Buonanotte. You'd say that more experience on the Leicester bench for Ruud van Nistelrooy to call upon, but they are second bottom for a reason. and they don't win many games. Chipped out wide towards the left-hand side. Christensen just about keeps it on, but he's given it away to Pedro Porro, who drives forward, edge of the penalty area, looks to slip it into the run of Son. Deflection finds Bergvall. Here's Porro again. We're playing 1 minute of added time at the end of this first half. Son being forced out towards Porro on that right-hand side again, and back it goes to Dragosan. We're in that added minute now. Spurs leading by a goal to nil on BBC Radio London Sport on a Sunday afternoon.
Bit disgruntled, one or two of the Spurs fans. I just think they wanted to see one final cross, didn't they, before the half-time whistle. That clock is ticking. They've gone backwards actually to keeper Kinski.
Well, they're leading by a goal to nil. What you want to do, I mean,
that's the positive, and probably on balance of play they have shaded it and deserve to be in that position.
There is a danger chasing late, and we saw against Liverpool, didn't we, in that game just before Christmas. Chasing a goal just before half-time can prove costly, because it went suddenly 3-1 from 2-1. So keep it at 1-0, that's fine. 2 seconds of the added time to go before Rob Jones, the referee, surely is going to blow for the half-time whistle.
Although that's another positive, I think, Phil, generally under Big Ange here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Often the first 15-20 minutes into home games, they tend to blow teams away, don't they, with their intensity. So regroup now, get a breather, get some refreshments on board and go again. Second goal here, and it should be job done for Spurs this afternoon.
Yeah, funny first half. Opening 25 minutes or so really was, had moments, but flirted into life, but didn't completely get going. Son with a shot which was well saved by Stalakit, but the key moment of the first half came on the right-hand side. Pedro Porro whipping in a delicious cross, and Richarlison timed his run perfectly, 6 yards out, cushioned a downward header into the back of the net. We've also seen Son afterwards, a cross-come shot which the Leicester goalkeeper had to palm onto the bar and away to safety. At the other end, Leicester have not really asked that many questions so far of Antonin Kinski. Half-time then at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's Spurs 1, Leicester City 0.
BBC Radio London,
the home of London football.
Second goal, as you say, Bradley, would probably be enough for Spurs. You would have thought that the belief in Leicester will start to drain. They're a team that have lost 7 on the bounce. They're a team that don't score goals. They certainly don't score goals in multiples. Whilst it's 1-0 though, they'll still believe they can get a half a chance. They can get back into this game, and it affects the mood round here. So hugely important, if they can, for Tottenham to come out and get that second, and then maybe that's when they can not relax necessarily, but they can sort of add some game management to what they need to do.
Yeah, important points that you're making, and I think actually, I mentioned, the state, the position that both these sides are in, and you look at those substitutes, more younger ones for Tottenham on the bench. I think the impact of those players either way might actually be the deciding factor, and the outcome come sort of final whistle this afternoon. But Spurs, I think, and their fans will be relatively pleased with the showing. They'll be pleased with the goal. We said that it was a game where if you find the quality with a cross and a finish, that can be the difference. Spurs certainly did that with their opening goal, whipped in from Porro, brave-headed diving header from Richarlison in the right position to give them the lead. Also struck the bar from Son, and another good effort from the Tottenham captain. So in that sense, Spurs have had the better moments. Leicester have huffed and puffed. They've had some corners, they've had some half chances, but just not the quality. So Tottenham, you'd expect can run out and win this one, and comfortably if they choose to.
Thank you, Bradley. Let's go to Selhurst Park. A half-time as well in our other commentary game this afternoon on the BBC Sport website and app. Crystal Palace against Brentford. Sahel Sahi.
Yeah, half-time here, Phil. Crystal Palace 0, Brentford 0. It's been an evenly fought contest between these two London sides. A real blood and thunder at times, I'd say, London derby, but otherwise passive at other moments. A chance apiece, a real chance apiece for both teams. Jean-Philippe Mateta, nice flick by Eze, very clever football from Eberechi Eze, found Mateta, he glided into the penalty area, left hand side. It was a real rip-roaring left-footed shot, tipped away by Mark Fleck, and he had to get a hand onto it, the Brentford goalkeeper. Brentford had a moment of their own. It was Damsgaard who picked out Wisser just right of the arc of the D, and he got his right foot around it, wrapped it low, arrowed it towards the bottom right hand corner of the goals. It was a nice tip round the post by Dean Henderson. They're the outstanding moments of the first half. It's been evenly fought. I think we're going to see a lot more action in this second half. I think both sides fancy it. They're just laying off each other at the moment, just holding out for hopefully a much better and an improved second 45 minutes. But half time here at Phil, Crystal Palace 0, Brentford 0.
Steve Brown alongside you. Brownie, just looking at the stats, and I know that this doesn't mean anything, but 0.2 XG for both sides. But these two teams have cancelled each other out a lot since the Premier League encounters have started. So I'm not surprised that it's tight, personally.
No, if you was a betting man and you've gone through the history of this fixture, you'd have had a pound on a draw, wouldn't you? Let's be brutally frank. But look, it's had its moments, as Sahara was saying, but it's not enough. I think Bradley just said about quality in the final third. We've had flashes, but they've been too few and far between. Eze looks the most dangerous. He's had a couple of opportunities. He's fed Mateta for his shot that was well saved by Flecken, and he's had a shot that was a dead weight, 20 yards out, centre of the pitch, and he got the strike wrong, and it just drifted into Flecken's midriff when actually you would have expected him to really test the goalkeeper. So it's a bit of a tame shot from him. But we've had a couple of brilliant deliveries into the penalty area, like super crosses that have just not been matched by the runs, and that's kind of where the game's at. You're just looking for that little link up, that matched run inside the penalty area for the delivery. Or we've had a couple of moments where players, and Buemo burst into the box and his shot was kind of crabbed. He didn't connect with it well, and Acquire made a block, and it was a good opportunity. Same with Visa, snatched at a shot across the goal from a very good position, and that's kind of where the game's at. It just needs somebody to have that little bit of quality, whether that be a run onto the end of a cross or the shot itself, and I think a goal will see this game open up. But all the time it's 0-0, it goes into little lulls, Phil, where the tempo just drops to almost nothing. There's hardly any movement, and then it bursts into life again. And I think if someone scores, we'll see a much more open game.
Steve, Sahel, thank you very much for the time being. Full commentary of the second half to come on the BBC Sport website and app of that one. Full commentary of the second half here at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs leading 1-0 on DAB Digital Radio, but also the BBC Sport website and app later. And we'll get team news from this one in about 20 minutes time, maybe just 25 minutes time. Aston Villa against West Ham United, and also Fulham against Manchester United at 7 o'clock. In the WSL, Spurs leading Palace by 2-0, both goals from Beth England, and Chelsea have beaten Arsenal 1-0 earlier today to go 9 points clear at the top of the table. West Ham Everton is kicking off in about 5 minutes time. In the Women's Championship, Chant 1-0 up against Sheffield United, Bristol City 2-0 up at Birmingham, Durham have beaten Southampton 1-0, and it's Newcastle 1, Portsmouth 0 at half time. The late game in the Premier League yesterday saw Chelsea take the lead against Manchester City, but they weren't able to hold on to it. City back on level terms before the break. 2 second half goals gave City the victory. Enzo Maresca spoke to the BBC's Match of the Day after the game.
Well, Enzo, give us your idea of the performance of your team today first.
We started very well. We scored the first one, and we could score the second one in 2-3 chances. Unfortunately, we miss, and then I think against this team, these players, the game is always open. They can decide the game in any moment. Unfortunately, we conceded the 1-1 almost at the end of first half, and then second half I think it was 50-50, and then the second goal probably changed completely the game.
It happened again at that time at the end of the first half, as it did on Monday. Is that an issue? Is that something that needs solving, or just one of those things?
No, because when you consider at the end of the first half, and then at the end of the second half, or during the game, at the end you concede the goal. The best way is to avoid to concede goal. But as I said, I think probably for me the game could be a different game if we are able to score the second one.
Is it just about taking chances? What more did you need to see from your team to be better in general today?
No, we need to be better for sure. We need to do many things better, no doubt. But also playing in the way we play. We scored the first one. We could score the second one in 2 different chances that I think because of the mood, because of the moment. If we are able to score the second one, the game completely changed for us.
Do you think your team could have played with a bit more belief, having gone 1-0 up, with a bit more belief that they could go and win this game?
No, I don't think. I think the team was quite good. Even before the 1-1, we knew that coming here we are going to concede chance for the way they play, for the players they have. Also, you want to be aggressive and you leave Haaland 1v1 against your defender. Can be always a threat, can be always dangerous. But we have said that, we were brave, scoring the second one, the game completely changed.
Thank you, Nicky. Let's speak to Mark.
Well, that's Enzo Maresco. Let's look back at the rest of Saturday, shall we? We'll start at Molineux, where some would say we saw one of the most controversial and ridiculous VAR decisions, but also we saw some spectacular goals yesterday.
And there is Calafiori, puts it into the back of the net, and Arsenal lead this by 1-0.
Yeah, I think it's so important, as you can imagine, and for sure we want to win also the next one.
It was an incredible goal from yourself, a really difficult technique. Did you know straight away what you were going to do?
Yeah, of course. As I said to my teammates, I was laughing with them because I can only score like this, goals like this, so I must focus on the easiest thing, but this one it's my job, you know.
You came onto the pitch after Miles Lewis-Skelly was sent off. What was your view of that red card?
From the bench was clearly not a red card, but I saw him at half time. It was so disappointing for the team, but at the end we won, so nothing happened.
Yeah, he looked very upset when he came off. How is he in there?
Yeah, he was upset, as I said, but I think now he's happy because we won, and for sure he's a good footballer. He's a good guy, so we help him a lot.
Trying to win the header, will it bounce through from Ramsey? Kane Ramsey wins it on his return to the side. He's been out injured since October, but he scores right in the end, the 95th minute. Charlton have won this game. It's Kane Ramsey. It's Charlton 1, Shrewsbury 0. Come on!
Curtis, I bet you're glad to be doing the interviews after today's game, late win. What did you make of it?
It was something that we probably thought would happen. I think over the last probably 6-7 games, Shrewsbury have looked a real resilient team. There's been a real uplift since Gareth Ainsworth has gone in. And we spoke to the lads about it being 96, 97 minutes, that we may win the game, but we had to believe and we had to keep going. And at times there will be frustrations, and at times there will be a bad pass, but at the end of the day it's about the 3 points. And I think maybe the lads are believing us now, and I think that having another clean sheet is a huge bonus for us, because we know that when we go into the games, the players we have on the pitch will create chances, and the lads that we can bring off the bench, the game changers, have made a real impact over the last few weeks. So it's something that we thought, may happen. On the other side, we think that we should have a little bit more guile at times, a little bit more patience, and a little bit more belief in ourselves in the attacking third. But at the end of the day, as I said to you, it's 3 points.
Cameron Congreve just inside the area, going all the way, and he scored! Cameron Congreve! What a superb individual goal! A day after celebrating his 21st birthday, he's equalised here at Meadow Lane. What a brilliant dribbling run! He finished it with a shot in off the post, and Cameron Congreve, who scored up at Newcastle, has now scored at Meadow Lane. It's Notts County 1, Bromley 1.
I thought it was a really good game. I mean, look, they're a quality team, aren't they? Let's be honest, and it's a quality football club. Look at the size of the place. We always have good matches here for some reason. I don't know if it just brings out the best in our team, or it's just we like playing at this big stadium. But look, they got quality all over the place in their team. McGoldrick, I can't believe he's playing at this level. He's so good. Yatta, I could go on and on. They're a really good team. And that's enough about them. I thought my team were excellent. I thought we'd done a really good job. I thought we was unlucky to go a goal down. Not the penalty decision, but before that I thought it was offside, which led to the penalty. And then, with adversity, this team never surprises me. They sort of dig in and don't sort of down tools, and heads don't drop, and they keep going. And that's kind of what we've bred as a group of players, staff and everyone. And you don't always get your rewards in this game, and I felt today we at least got our reward with a point, at least.
BBC Radio London,
the home of London football.
It's at Sunday Sport on BBC Radio London. We're live at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium and at Selhurst Park. Our 2 o'clock kickoffs. We've got a 4:30 at Villa Park and Craven Cottage for 7 o'clock this evening as well. No goals in South London. There has been one in North London. Kulusevski being manhandled by Christensen, slides it to Pape Matar Sarr. Porro's waiting on the right hand side. It's curved out wide to him by Sarr. Here comes the cross for Richarlison, and Spurs take the lead. Cross from Pedro Porro, and Richarlison timed his run perfectly and cushions it beyond the Leicester City goalkeeper. They're on their feet inside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and Spurs lead. Richarlison with the goal. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Leicester 0. The Leicester players are out. We're going to see Mikey Moore, I think, Bradley. Certainly going through an extensive warming up for Tottenham Hotspur on his own. The rest of the substitutes are all wrapped up. Mikey Moore is virtually stripped down to his shirt. He's got his shorts on, so just waiting to see who's coming out for Tottenham Hotspur. So look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're all out. Maybe he's going to be a quick replacement at the start of the second half because everyone is out there. Just been reading some interesting stuff. Of course, we started off a little look back for yesterday with all the fallout from the red card from Miles Lewis-Skelly. I know Spurs fans won't care, Bradley, although Arsenal got the win in the end. You look at it, you can't give red cards for that. Because if that's serious foul play, then we are going to end up with football matches. It's got to be consistency, isn't it?
Decision.
Anyway, Mikey Moore may be on soon, but no change at the break. A lot of people have not got back to their seats in the stand opposite us for the start of this second half, Bradley. And Spurs lead by a goal to 0. No changes made at the break, so Kinski in goal, Antonin Kinski. Back forward, Pedro Porro, Radostan Dragusan. Ben Davies at left back and Archie Gray just inside of him in midfield. Lucas Bergvall and Rodrigo Bentancur, and then Pape Matar Sarr with Son to the left, Kulusevski to the right, and Richarlison the goal scorer through the middle. For Leicester, who have lost 7 straight Premier League games coming into this, they have Stalajic between the sticks, James Justin, and then Bentancur goes flying in on Christensen, who's lying in a crumpled heap. It sent Bobby Decordova-Reid forward, and here's Vardy, and he bundles it into the back of the net for his 8th goal of the season. The referee allowed advantage, and they broke down the left-hand side in Leicester City. Vardy the recipient of Bobby Decordova's little tease ball across the edge of the 6-yard box, and he bundles it in, and Leicester have restored parity inside the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's Tottenham Hotspur 1, Leicester City 1.
Well, Ruud van Nistelrooy, the Leicester coach, is just having a word with the 4th official. We just spoke about refereeing decisions only moments ago, Phil, in one of yesterday's games, and down the left-hand side it was a hefty challenge between Christensen and Bentancur. Advantage was allowed. Decordova-Reid, the former Fulham winger, great cross into the danger area, and Jamie Vardy has done that all his career. He gambled, the ball broke to him, and he's not going to miss off of his second touch from close range.
Well, it was missed by Ben Davies, the cross. Kinski came out, didn't get the greatest of contacts on it, and Vardy actually, he was about to run in on it. It was awkward, bobbled up onto his shins.
He almost missed it initially, but the momentum and the football off of that first touch just sort of broke fortuitously to him, and it was an easy tap-in the end. 1-1. This game is definitely alive again.
Well, we said, before the break, Bradley, that Spurs, if they come out get the second goal, that'll probably be job done. Leicester getting the second goal in this game has certainly opened it up. He got the equaliser when they met up in the East Midlands at the beginning of the season, Jamie Vardy. He's got the equaliser here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and there's still a lot of Spurs fans yet to get back to their seats. We've played 47.5 minutes, and there's a degree of stunned silence around the ground apart from the Leicester fans.
Yeah, that is the exact reaction, isn't it, for the returning Tottenham fans from those refreshment concourses.
Well, the worst signs, I suppose, in the first half from Leicester, that we know that Bobby Decordova-Reid is gets up and down, he works hard like Ayew, and you can't give Vardy too many chances as they go long for Ayew. Rises, headed away into midfield. Here's Bergvall, plays it back towards his own penalty area, but he was being shoved as he did so.
I think even with that though, Phil, just our observations with those half chances and attacking moments for Leicester across that first half, it didn't fill you with that confidence and a side that we're going to actually, across this game and this afternoon, take them, especially with Spurs putting themselves in front with that excellent Richarlison headed goal. Davies has just miscontrolled the ball out.
Puts it up the touchline. Being
going for it, Leicester.
Winked. Yeah, they're
really squeezing the play, and Spurs need to find a bit of quality here to break the press.
Bergvall races down the left-hand side though for Tottenham. Oh dear. He slides it back into his own half of the pitch. Bit of a mistake from Lucas Bergvall, but it's met by Dragusan, and here on the right-hand side is Kulusevski. You make a good point as well, Bradley, before the break about whatever legginess there may be, and they've won it back, Leicester, and they did this. They turned over quite a bit in the first half, played into midfield. Here's El Khanous on the edge of the penalty area, strikes it, and he puts Leicester ahead. El Khanous allowed to shoot from 20 yards out, and 4 minutes into the second half, the visiting Leicester City fans are in rapture. They've scored 2 goals in 4.5 minutes and lead at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs 1, Leicester City 2.
I'm shocked, Phil. Another turnover of the ball. Credit to Leicester, they showed a little bit of quality with 2 or 3 passes, and Khanous, who's been not very good across this game, he's flicked a few balls and twist and turn, but not to too much effect. Whoa, what a moment for him. Centre field, Dragusan Davies backed off, and he whipped a shot, skidded off the turf, and it's crept beyond Kinski into the bottom left-hand corner. What a 4 or 5 minutes of football for Leicester. Could this, not only today, with a result here, completely transform their Premier League season? Who knows?
What does it mean for their season? But yeah, you're right, Bradley. I mean, El Khanous has looked like a luxury player for the opening 45 minutes, really, and when you're fighting against relegation, you can barely afford one of those. Did Spurs defence come out and engage quick enough to stop the shot? He bent it around Ben Davies in the end, so it was a late vision that Kinski would have got. But Leicester have scored more than 1 goal in a game in the Premier League for the first time since the 8th of December, and they have it again with a turnover on the halfway line, and here they come. El Khanous dabs it out wide towards Jordan Ayew, and they've got their tails up at the moment of the Foxes.
Spurs have got to be very careful here. This one, don't run away from them.
Well, the noise you're hearing from the Spurs fans is more in protest as it's chipped out wide to the right-hand side, and James Justin, space for him to attack down that flank. Leicester playing with a bit of confidence and verve at the moment. 51 minutes play. It's chipped in towards Ayew. Spurs have dealt with this well effectively. Goes back to Ben Davies. Archie Gray on the left-hand side, flicks it towards the Welsh skipper, lifts it up the touchline only as far as Harry Winks, the former Spurs man born in Hemel Hempstead, turns it into Declan Dover-Reid. Here they come again. Soumare with a shot which goes flying over the top of the bar. But Spurs can't get out at the moment, Bradley.
No, and they are sensing that. The press, the energy is certainly with the visiting team. A remarkable transformation, really, with only 7 minutes into this second half. Referee just wants to do a drop ball here and allow Kinski to restart the game from inside the Tottenham Hotspur penalty box.
And the rain is lashing down inside the stadium in North London. Spurs leading by trailing by 2 goals to 1, and the home form has been worrying as well, Bradley. I mean, that big win against Liverpool, of course, in the League Cup semi-final, first leg aside. There's been some defeats of late. Newcastle United in the Premier League, most recently by this same scoreline that we've got at the moment. Long way to go in this game, of course. Sense of unease, dissatisfaction around this part of North London at the moment. As here comes Ben Davies. Spurs have to respond. On the left-hand side they come. It's curved in field beyond Richarlison. Christensen's going to just curl it out of play for a Spurs ball on the right-hand side.
Outside the right foot from Spurs' left-hand side. Tees forward. with a bit of quality there from Son, and he's just Kulusevski on his heels slightly.
You're going to see
another break here for Leicester.
You can see Reguilon coming on shortly. Is Ayew down the right hand side. It's up against Archie Gray. Still with it is Ayew. Takes Gray wide of him, pushes it towards the byline, whips in across. It's Vardy with a shot. Volley straight though into the block. And now won by Soumare on the edge of the penalty area. Spurs are trying to get out, but they can't. And Dragusan manages to slip it out clear towards Kulusevski on the right.
Frantic Phil, isn't it?
It is. Face with the slide tackle, and
more as we expected, and as you mentioned, Reguilon.
Well, we'll see what this does. It's Richarlison is going to be replaced by Mikey Moore. Well, very little football for Richarlison recently. The Spurs fans are questioning this decision, but this only is third start of the season for Richarlison. Mikey Moore comes on to replace him, and Reguilon on for Pape Matar. And again, players that, Bradley, it's not just about injured players, it's not about what you've got, it's about how much time they've got in their legs, these players, to be able to go at full pelt.
I think firstly you make the correct point about Richarlison. He hasn't played too much football. Yes, a goal last week upon return at Everton, his former club, and a fine goal in the first half this afternoon. But with no Solanke for potentially 6-8 weeks, he can't be risked, Phil. He can't gamble, and I don't think Sarr was fully fit from the start, if I'm honest. No. And he's been replaced probably because there are still concerns there. He put himself up to it this afternoon, but maybe he was a bit under the weather and not 100%. So I'm not surprised at those changes, and there are probably genuine reasons for that.
Well, I think the Mikey Moore one was planned because he went through an extensive warm-up at half-time, Bradley. He was ready to come on. I wonder if they just said to Richarlison, can you give us 15 minutes, get to the hour mark? 60 minutes is normally a time if you bring in a player back up to speed. About the hour is what you're aiming for. 55 on the clock, Spurs 1, Leicester City 2. Let's go to Selhurst Park. Early exchanges, second half, Palace Brentford, Sahel Sahit.
Yeah, 56 minutes played here at Selhurst Park. Real flat start to the second half. Just liven up in the next couple of minutes, Phil. We've got a free kick for Crystal Palace, still scoreless. Neither side have created anything of note in this second half, so hopefully we'll have something to report next time you're with us. Crystal Palace 0, Brentford 0.
Christensen looked like almost a foul throw again from the Danish left back for Leicester. Goes to the right back, James Justin, been put under pressure by Mikey Moore. He hacks it away. The knockdown into midfield is met by Archie Gray, and that's pushed Gray into midfield, where his position would be, Bradley.
Yeah.
Reguilon's gone left back, Ben Davis in the heart of that Spurs defence, and Spurs attack with Son. Moore down the left hand side. He'll keep it in, will young Mikey Moore. Edge of the penalty area. Signed his professional contract recently. His attempted cross is blocked away, gets another opportunity to poke it out wide towards the left hand side, and then Reguilon's cross.
Bit of energy now
for a corner
with Reguilon and young Moore. He'll be eager to impress. He will want to get on the ball, take players on, assist. He did exactly that at Goodison with the 25-minute cameo last weekend upon his return, having been out through illness. It's good to see him back, a young player with fantastic potential.
Here comes the corner kick from Son on the left hand side. Come on you Spurs, the cry from the fans, headed away by Vestergaard. He's a big man to get it over in that penalty area, and swept back towards Archie Gray on the halfway line. El Khanous is putting pressure on him as it goes back towards Kinski, the goalkeeper, to slide it into midfield. The scorer of that second Leicester goal, El Khanous, tries to close him down again. Spurs trailing 2-1. 57 minutes played on BBC Radio London Sport, on DAB Digital Radio, and then Ayew goes scampering for the ball, catches Sergio Reguilon, who is I think it's fair to say
grimacing a little bit. Might be the cold weather.
Yeah, well, you don't want to go down injured on a day like this, do you really?
Only on the pitch for a matter of minutes, but he's first contact and challenge really in these conditions.
Ayew is rumbustus, I think it's fair to say. He doesn't take prisoners, but Reguilon, I think the defeat to Newcastle where he appeared as the ball over the top for Dejan Kulusevski into the penalty area. It's just pulled away by the goalkeeper, and Justin hacks it towards this near touchline, being chased up by Mikey Moore. Justin got it clear. Kulusevski again down the right hand side of the Spurs attack. He finds Pedro Porro. Here comes Porro's attempted cross. Will he sneak it in near post? Mikey Moore with a shot. Kulusevski up in the air. It's deflected away. There's a Leicester player down injured, and now the flag's gone up against the Swede for an offside decision.
Yeah, it's a brilliant ball in behind, and the pace and power of Kulusevski took him through from his effort that spun and looped up. You think Mikey Moore, if he'd have just gambled and took a chance from the resulting save, fingertip save, he would have got in front of James. But credit to the right back, he just beat the youngster in that 1v1 and cleared his lines. But that was better from Spurs.
Yeah, lots of credit all round for Dejan Kulusevski. Good strength to get away for the shot. He was pushed a little bit further wide. Wout Faes made a good block. And then, as you said, a good battle between James Justin and Mikey Moore. Maybe a little bit more experience there from James Justin as to get to the ball first. Bradley was half a chance. An offside flag in the end has given Leicester a chance to clear their lines. 59 gone, 2-1 Spurs trail. Kanoose heads it on. Dragusin with another header. Sumaro wins it in midfield for Leicester. Could only prod it out of play. But Sergio Reguilon is pretty surprised to be wearing a Spurs shirt, isn't he, Bradley? I mean, he was, maybe not out of favour, but sort of out the door somewhat. Manchester United, Brentford.
You know where this crazy game of football, Phil, is sometimes crazy.
It is.
And upon return and
it goes and
been
scores.
out of action.
Yeah.
You might play again your next match. Tamworth.
Yeah, exactly.
Who would have said that?
Well,
it's bonkers sometimes, isn't it?
Spells at Manchester United and Brentford last season as El Kanouse gets stuck with the ball at his feet and congested and dispossessed by Bergvall, who burst over the halfway line. Tracked back though this time by Sumare. Leicester are not letting Spurs settle on the ball.
No, they've just
now Son again, the ball into his path. He runs into James Justin. The referee's given a free kick.
Not sure. He was falling backwards there, Son. He took the ball in. He was double teamed by James and Faes, falling over. Little bit of contact. Not much, Phil, was it? It was a coming together more than anything. And for the complaints, the referee's brandished a yellow card. But a Tottenham free kick about 35 yards out from goal, centrally inside the Leicester half of the pitch.
So James Justin may have been booked. Jamie Vardy is the captain. He's questioning Robert Jones as to why that was given as a free kick. It's a soft one, Bradley. Hour gone. Spurs will take it though. They'll have it. They won't mind at this moment in time. They need a route back into this game, trailing by 2-1. Reguilon. It's only his 5th appearance of the season. There is a penalty at Selhurst Park. Is it being taken right now? We might go there when it's about to be taken, because this is a free kick to Tottenham Hotspur, halfway inside the Leicester City half. Andrew will let us know when the ball is on the spot. I don't even know who's taking it, Bradley. What excitement that they're getting on the BBC Sport website and app at this moment in time. Meantime, can we get some excitement at the south stand end of the ground here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? It's a free kick which Pedro Porro is behind. He's going to maybe lash this, Bradley. We'll blow the whistle from the referee. Robert Jones steps back, looks at the ball. Kulusevski's out to the right. It will be driven. Goalwards, takes a deflection, bounces off the bar, cracked in by Bentancur and goes wide. Selhurst Park we go next. Sahel Sahi.
And here comes Brian Mbeumo. Phil, Brentford have been awarded a penalty. Lacroix foul Collins. Here he comes. Can he score? Oh, he hits the post. He hits the post. It comes out. He rebounds away. And he misses Brian Mbeumo, Brentford's leading goal scorer, scored 3 times from the penalty spot this season. It wasn't to be a fourth, Steve Brown.
Yeah, he beats the keeper. Well, there we go. Chance for Brentford to take the lead. Chance for Spurs to get on level terms. Bradley Allen and Pedro Porro's deflected free kick off the frame of the goal, and then Bentancur put it wide.
Yeah, it was a terrific effort, wasn't it, from Porro from distance. It was on to shoot. Surging run from Bergvall. The youngsters started to come into the game and trying to combine down to Spurs' right with Kulusevski. But anything can happen still in this one, Phil.
Well, it's been given away this time by Sumare, and then Mikey Moore's beaten to it, and here, springing forward on counter-attack, comes James Justin. He's got Vardy with him, slides it towards Ayew, right-hand side of the Spurs penalty area. Justin's gone forward, back heel to Ayew again, maybe not the right decision. Spurs get the block, Harry Winks comes to field, out of play it goes, and Winks will take the throw-in on that far touchline. The 28-year-old came through the ranks here, of course, before moving to Leicester. Apparently they're looking at that penalty for encroachment. It might be taken again, Bradley. We'll find out. Here comes Winks into Ayew. Stretches out the leg to try and bring it under control. Spurs come away with it. The game is getting stretched. Son beaten to it by a slide from back face this time. The pair of them have a little cuddle on the pitch on the halfway line.
Yeah, it was aggressive. Not the best ball played into the Spurs captain. But, you know, you do feel that Spurs can, with momentum and finding quality, can certainly get back to 2-2 and win this match, Phil. But in the other direction, Ayew, Vardy and Kanous do look in the mood as well on the counter-attack.
Good ball into the Leicester penalty area. Good start position though from Stolacic, who drops on it ahead of Mikey Moore and makes the gather. 63.5 minutes played. Spurs 1, Leicester 2. So the big scoreboards in each of the four corners here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And then El Kanous, he's given it away to Bergvall. Soumare takes it away for Leicester City. El Kanous tries to break again. Here is Harry Winks. Eyes on that right hand side. Is he going to filter it towards him? He is. Closed down by Sergio Reguilon. Drifts in field away from the Spaniard. El Kanous picks up possession on the edge of the centre circle, and it will be swept out wide to that right hand side on Winks. Overlapping run in towards the boot of Jordan Ayew. Back it comes to James Justin, and Spurs back in their defensive shape and Leicester in possession. And Soumare in the halfway line plays it back to Wout Face. Quickly back to Selhurst Park.
From the penalty spot for the fourth time this season, Brian Mbeumo, Phil Parry, is Crystal Palace 0, Brentford 1. It was retaken because Dean Henderson jumped off his line. It was encroachment, and Mbeumo has put Brentford into the lead. Steve Brown.
Yeah, I think that's
across the 6-yard box, and then it'll just be kept in by Dejan Kulusevski. Archie Gray inside the 18-yard box. Kulusevski still with it for Spurs. South end of the ground. Back it comes to Pedro Porro. Slides it to Bergvall. He can't get his shot away, and Ayew's then won it. And does he want a free kick? No. Dragusan has to force it back to his goalkeeper. Vardy in close attention.
He did terrific, didn't he, in terms of support and the give and go left corner of the box. Archie Gray, and somehow reaching for the cross, but there was no Spurs player ready for the delivery. Hit hard and low into a terrific area. Spurs go again, and that youngster who continues to impress me. I think he, in the coming years, is going to become the heartbeat of this Tottenham Hotspur side. Archie Gray, what a young player.
28th appearance of the season. Porro dives away from 3 challenges. Pedro Porro into the side netting, and he gets an absolute earful from Archie Gray, because he said, why don't you just lever it back to me? I was in on goal. Mikey Moore was at the far post. Pedro Porro saw the headlines. Now the headlines have turned to boos.
He done ever so well, didn't he? You know, zigzagging through on that right hand side, but it's not a position to shoot from there. The angle was massively against him, and Son and Mikey Moore were inside the 6-yard box this time, ready for a hard and low cross, and he's just sliced it into the side netting.
2-1.
That was a waste.
Sorry, Bradley. 2-1 to Leicester. Brentford lead at Crystal Palace. 4:30 commentary from Villa Park. West Ham United visiting. What's the team news from Ross Heaton?
It's 3 changes for West Ham, with Areola, Soler and Soufal replacing Fabianski, Rodriguez and the suspended Mavropanos. The Hammers still without Bowen and Somerville. As for Villa, Watkins is preferred to Duran up front. Their one change is Ramsey in for Buendia.
Thank you very much indeed. We'll have more on that after 4 o'clock. Building up to that game, Neil MacDonald alongside Ross Heaton at Villa Park, where West Ham lost in the FA Cup a couple of weeks ago. The Spurs are trailing to Leicester City here. Haven't lost in 7 games at home to Leicester City of Tottenham Hotspur. It's 2-1 to the rather moribund Leicester, who lost their last 7 on the bounce in the Premier League. But it goes back to their goalkeeper Stolacic, who's has to just batter it out of play on this near touchline under pressure from Son for a throw-in to Spurs. Brentford lead at Palace by a goal to 0. Brian Mbeumo with a retaken penalty, making it 1-0 to the Bees in a game which is always close, always tight. Looking for a double over Crystal Palace. Kulusevski, back heel to Bergvall. Referee's given a free kick.
They tried a intricate passing move there. Spurs down the right hand side. He just lifted his foot in a little bit, didn't he, Bergvall? Decordova-Reid wants to push the ball back. Porro wants to take the free kick. Bit of frustration amongst many of the crowd. The referee should be doing something, really. But I think, you know, the important key factor here for Spurs, Phil, is Tottenham just holding their nerve, finding that composure, not panicking.
Ball over the top for Son. Stolacic will get there though, gathers it outside of his 6-yard box on the right hand side. 68 minutes played, 22 to go plus added time. A lot of football still to be played in this match, Bradley. And Leicester City have shrunk back into a more defensive type formation. Spurs fans trying to put pressure on the referee to have a go at Leicester for their time wasting. And then that's Reguilon catching Ayew,
and a yellow card.
To produce a yellow card.
He's furious, Reguilon.
Sergio Reguilon. Ayew is down. Reguilon is arguing his case.
The ref's just saying to Son, the Spurs captain, that the Tottenham Hotspur substitute needs to be careful, needs to calm down.
Well,
but with nearly 70 minutes on the clock, they're the moments. They're the moments that Leicester are going to want, because it will stop the Tottenham Hotspur momentum, intensity, and opportunity to attack and get back on level terms.
Well, he wasn't cute enough, Reguilon. He was looking at Ayew rather than the ball, right? So if he'd sort of kept looking at the ball but sort of sneakily looking over his shoulder and made contact, he might have got away with it, Bradley. It's just accidental contact. But he was looking at him.
I bet you've not made a running tally, have you, about the challenges that Ayew's involved in? I said that at the start of the game. I did say that to you.
He's very good at doing it.
He's brilliant at that. He was at Palace.
It's a free kick which Al-Khamis will take for Leicester. It's a low driven one, flicks up in the air, face heads it further forward. Leicester have players back to mop up the clearance, and Winks slides it to his goalkeeper. Almost 70 minutes played, 2-1 Leicester City lead. It's been a rather miserable season for their fans in the Premier League so far, but this would be maybe a touch paper moment, blue touch paper moment for them, but they've got a long way to go. Just one win in the last 14 in the Premier League, 5 points from 42 available. Spurs trailing by 2-1. And Ange Postecoglou is going to have to consider more changes chasing this. James Justin, surely it's going to be a yellow card.
Yeah, he's remembered.
Yeah,
good refereeing.
Mikey Moore gets.
Yeah, he turned and backed into the full-back. Long ball from Davis down Spurs' left-hand side. And there was a collision. It was a free kick. Tottenham might be able to, from the left, probably swung inwards, make something from this delivery.
So Son will take it over on the left-hand side, about 20 yards up from the byline. He's just there giving himself a little bit of purchase on the pitch to get a bit of lift on this cross that he's going to whip in from this free kick. 71 minutes played, Spurs trailing 2-1. Again, the fans at the south stand end of the ground trying to encourage their team forward to get this equaliser and swing momentum back in their favour. Here it comes then from the right boot of the South Korean. The Spurs skipper puts his left hand up in the air. He's going to deliver. That's good spin to it. Punched away though by Stolacic. Met by Porro on the right hand side of the penalty area. And that is headed over the bar by Dragusin for a goal kick to Leicester City, who now want to see if Vestergaard needs some attention. The referee makes it pretty demonstrative that he is keeping an eye on the time of this. Vestergaard, I'm not sure there was much contact there.
They have to be careful, don't they, if there is a potential bit of head contact. The officials now just taking a deep breath.
Yannick Vestergaard,
the Leicester 23.
Formerly of Southampton, of course, before moving to Leicester in 2021. 70th start for him, and a goal kick for the header over the bar from Dragusin. 18 minutes to go. Any more changes from Spurs? We've sort of mentioned the fact there's not a lot of experience on there for Tottenham Hotspur.
Possibly Basuma, but another like Sol. Is he fully fit to come on and enter the fray here? Yeah. Got Will Lancashire centre forward.
Ayew has gone down again, holding his head, and the physios are being waved on by the referee for another crack on the bonds.
Is that Ayew, Phil?
Yeah, of course it is. Let's have a look. He may have even been clumped by his own teammate. No, he just he clashed heads. Really, it's
genuine a little
with
bump.
Bentancur. Yeah. Referee's got to stop it if it's a head injury. Son, the Spurs skipper, is having a chat with Rob Jones, the referee. He's explaining the situation as to why this stoppage has been made. Ayew is coming to the sidelines.
I think that's correct, sensible refereeing, Phil. But you know, my angst with the officials is most definitely their concept of time wasting.
Yeah,
and so few of them have a real sort of grasp of that in the midst of a Premier League fixture and the battle and what ensues.
Harry Winks brings Mikey Moore to the ground. Winks came off worse than that, but Spurs continue to attack. Cross dabbed into the penalty area, headed down by Vestergaard, met by Porro, levers it square, and then Reguilon's presented possession to James Justin, who flicked it up the right-hand touchline for El Khanous to chase, but Ben Davies for Spurs has it. Here comes Gray to Reguilon again, dancing forward. That'll be Christian who'll cut that out, and he gives it straight to Rodrigo Bentancur. And at the moment, Leicester are a little bit panicked defensively. You can understand that.
Yeah.
They don't often lead in games at the moment to Leicester City, and this is a precious position they find themselves in. 16 to go. Here's Kulusevski in off the right hand side, filters it towards Son. Out comes the goalkeeper. Flag goes up against him anyway.
Yeah, I thought for 1 minute he was going to, as he carried the ball parallel with the 18-yard line, Kulusevski. Might even be a yellow card. He's took a knock, Winks, and he's limping. It would have gone straight to the left corner of the box for Mikey Moore. He tried a clever reverse pass to Swede, and it was not able to find Son.
Well, Winks is okay, but El Khanous has now gone down inside the centre circle, and the Spurs fans are not enjoying this, Bradley. And the physios, who've not even got back round to the... It's cramp. It is cramp. So the referee is waving on the physios, so cramp can be attended to for Bilal El Khanous. And the thing is, by waving on the physios, Bradley, that means he has to go off for 30 seconds, doesn't it? Because once the physios have been on, you have to go off, you have to stay off, and then they wave you back on. So the referee's doing that. Meantime, Leicester are going to make a double change, and we're going to see Facundo Buonanotte come on. And who's the other one? It is Patson Daka. So whilst this happens, let's go to Selhurst Park. Crystal Palace against Brentford. Sahel Sahi.
Position, 77 minutes played here. Phil, still Crystal Palace 0, Brentford 1. That retaken penalty from Brentford's leading goal scorer Brian Mbumo separates the two sides. Palace are trying to respond, but Brentford are defending really well. They've just defended a long throw-in. Crystal Palace have possession, but they're trailing here at home to Brentford in the London derby by a goal to 0.
Well, Bilal El Khanous won't have to wait on the sidelines for his 30 seconds or whatever, because he's going to be replaced by Patson Daka, and Jamie Vardy being replaced by Facundo Buonanotte. So Leicester leading by 2-1, 14 minutes to play. Arsenal beaten by Chelsea in the WSL with a late penalty from Gura Wrighton earlier today. Means they're 9 points clear at the top of the table. Are the Blues of West London. And these are the changes being completed by Leicester City. They'll get nervous though, I would have thought now, Bradley, Leicester. They're leading in the game.
In this position many times, if at all, across this Premier League season so far. You know, that's something that they have to themselves try to manage. There will be stoppages to the game.
Behind. Daka trying to get in behind the Spurs back line from the ball as it's drifted forward. Here is Jordan Ayew in midfield, won back by Buonanotte. Is that a foul? It is, and a yellow card produced by Robert Jones for a foul on Archie Gray.
I'm not convinced as well. There's going to be 22 players on the end on the pitch at the end of this one.
And the referee's starting to flourish cards. 13 to go. Spurs trailing 2-1. Ball forward towards Pedro Porro. Shifts it out wide towards the right-hand side. Kulusevski's cross is deflected behind by Christensen for a corner kick to Spurs. (2-1) to Leicester. Corner kick's taken quickly. Short comes back out wide towards Porro on the right-hand side. Bergvall behind it. Here's Lucas Bergvall. Thursday night, Elfsborg here in Europa League action live on BBC Radio London. Reguilon drifts down the left-hand side of the penalty area, defended by Leicester. Voutface scoops it away from in front of his goalkeeper. It's a corner kick to Spurs on the left.
Good dribble and burst there from Reguilon. His best moment. Near post cross. Face slid in, cleared away. Mikey Moore just sort of setting the ball to the outside of that quadrant. Will swing this from the left right into the 6-yard box here.
Steps back down the camber, does Mikey Moore to take this corner kick. Up the camber he comes, curls it, 6-yard box, headed away by Face. Son will retrieve it, right hand side of the Leicester penalty area, back to Porro. He delivers a deep cross towards the far post. Dragerson with a header and clutched under the crossbar by the goalkeeper Stolarczyk. Ben Davies in close attention, and now apparently Stolarczyk is injured, and the Spurs fans are saying what they think about this. Ange Postecoglou looks on with a degree of disgust on his face.
Phil, that's pathetic, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was more the defender and Ben Davies, wasn't it? Well, the experienced Welsh defender has jogged back to his position. He's got his head in his hands. He can't believe, like, the referee's giving the goalkeeper the opportunity to get some treatment here. He's saying, what am I supposed to do? He should think some of these Leicester players are taking the mickey out of him a little bit.
Well, we'll have a look. I mean, maybe he fell heavily on his left ankle. I'm not quite sure. I tell you, as well as the substitutes and the players, Bradley, the two physios for Leicester City are going to have to do a recovery after this, because they've done probably more kilometres than many of the players, Bradley. They've been on and off in this second half.
Yeah,
with their two little bags.
Their step counts up.
I bet you remember the day when, if you got injured, you were lucky to get one physio, never mind two. And even then it was like, was it a sponge and a bit of cold water?
Up you get, son. Get on with it. You'll be alright.
Son comes to have a chat with the referee, and then forces Stolarczyk to pick it up. Seems to be fine now.
Or with some of the stronger ones, Phil. There's nothing wrong with you.
Right, let's go back to Selhurst Park. Another goal. Brentford taking on Crystal Palace there. It's Sahel Sahi.
It's the second one for Brentford, and at the moment, Phil, it stands. Kevin Schade with the goal. Cross from the right hand side from Damsgaard. Chris Richards was defending. There's a clash of heads, so Richards and Schade is receiving some treatment. The reason I say at the moment it stands, because in the build-up, I believe during commentary I saw Nathan Collins control the ball with his hand, and as we know, if a goal is scored but it's a handball in the build-up, VAR should be checking this, but at the moment the goal stands. We'll let you know if it changed. It's Crystal Palace 0, Brentford 2.
Thank you very much. Archie Gray with a shot, deflected away by the Leicester defence, clipped in towards the back post. Out of play it goes for a goal kick from Pedro Porro. 81 minutes played. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Leicester City 2. Oh, come on, Jones, get your card out. In fact, Stolarczyk has now been booked, and he has been taking the proverbial, Bradley, and gets booked for his troubles.
Like a pantomime, Phil, isn't it?
It is a little bit. The thing is, right,
he's booked him and he's taking an 8 now on the restart.
Now he takes it left-footed towards the halfway line. 8.5 to go plus added time. There'll be a lot of added time for the time wasting that's gone on. We may just about get to Villa West Ham in time, Bradley, at this rate. It's a throw-in on the far touchline.
I predict there's going to be about 10 minutes here, if not more than that.
I think you're right. I mean, the controversial view, would be, right, you earn the right to try and absolutely play it to within the width of the rule, but if you can, because you're ahead in a game.
The dark arts,
but also the officials do have a responsibility to make sure they go, well, that's fine, but we're going to make sure that we do stick within what are the rules. As James Justin cuts it away from Mikey Moore, goes back to Stolarczyk, who drives this out of play on the far touchline for a Tottenham Hotspur throw. Less than 8 to go. Leicester lead 2-1.
Spurs have to chase, Phil, don't they? They've got to commit. There's that expectation, with it being Leicester as well, amongst the home fans to push and at least get an equaliser here. because we'd had some finish if they make it 2-2.
Yeah, there certainly will. There'll be a lot more juice about the way they go about things. Reguilon down the left-hand side. His cross drifts over the byline. That'll be a goal kick. And Stolarczyk having a word with the referee, saying Spurs aren't getting the ball back to me quick enough. I think Rob Jones is not going to have that. Stolarczyk is going to take it from the... He is taking it from the right-hand side of his 6-yard box. He does have that right, I suppose. That's what he's going to do, but he knows he can't dawdle too much. Ruud van Nistelrooy looks away from the pitch. Is he going to make another change? It looks like he may do.
Well, I was thinking that as well, with Big Ange, Will Lancashire, young Spurs striker. He did really well for Wayne Burnett's under-21 side last season. He's one of the substitutes. Could he be put on down the middle? Give Spurs another attacking option.
Here is Kulusevski. Bergvall spills over. The referee says play on. There seems to be a coming together with Samori in midfield. Now it's going to be Bentancur through the centre circle to Davis. Guides it out wide to that right-hand side again. Here goes Mikey Moore towards the byline. And James Justin nibbles it away from him for a corner kick. Another corner for Spurs. 6 to go plus added time. 2-1 they trail at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on BBC Radio London. Brentford, we still believe, are 2-0 up in that game against Palace. Haven't been told it's not been awarded. Maybe they haven't checked it yet on VAR. Here comes the corner kick. It's an outswinger this time from the left-hand side into the 6-yard box, punched away by the goalkeeper. Drops for Pedro Porro, slips it towards Son, right-hand side of the Leicester City penalty area. Back to Porro, and then his driven effort is semi-blocked maybe by Ayew, and it's picked up by the goalkeeper. Let's go back to Sellers Park. Sahel Sahi.
We've got game on here, Phil. Crystal Palace 1, Brentford 2. Romain Esse making his debut with his first touch. He's pulled Crystal Palace back into this game. Good move from left to right, cross from the right hand side, and the shot came off the foot of the post. Signed in the January transfer window. The 19-year-old is off and running. Crystal Palace 1, Brentford 2.
2-1 to Leicester here, so both away teams winning at the moment by 2-1, but still a lot of football to be played in the WSL. By the way, Crystal Palace have pulled it back to 2-2 against Tottenham Hotspur. Beth England with 2 goals for Spurs in the first half, but Stengel and Weirden with goals as it's chipped over the top, and here's Patson Daka. He's offside.
Correct decision.
Tried to stay onside at Patson Daka, and then it'll be a free kick to Tottenham Hotspur. Referee says the ball is moving. The free kick can't be taken that way, and in fact there's changes being made by Leicester City, so here come the changes. Bobby Decordova-Reid is being withdrawn for Ollie Skipp, another former Spurs man, and we're also going to see Jordan Ayew being replaced, and he is going to be replaced by Connor Cody. Instructions being handed out by Ollie Skipp as to what's to be done. Well, we know where Connor Cody's going. He's not going up front, is he?
Yeah, that might be a back 5, mightn't it? They've not really for 10 minutes or so Leicester offered any attacking threat.
Not at all.
It's been a lot of defensive work, and most players back behind the ball.
Connor Cody, born in St Helens, the former Liverpool youth team player. Sheffield United, Huddersfield, Wolves, Everton.
It's a 5-3-2 now, isn't it, for the visitors?
It is. And this is Skipp in midfield, wins it back, and he's just going to hack it away. Dakar's going to have a very, very lonely role to play. It's Patson Daka. And Spurs with it, chipped in towards Son, forced out wide by Feist, but he's got the ball under control as the Spurs skipper. Looking for a run from Archie Gray, comes back to Son from Feist. He's been tracked across by Oliver Skipp, curls it towards Pedro Porro. 3.5 to go. Wout Feist with a header away. Christensen's going to scamper to prevent the corner kick at the very least, and he
good defending that. Teasing ball from Porro. One of his better crosses with that assist in the first half across the afternoon. But first, going back towards his goal, he headed it out, and with distance as well, of the Leicester City penalty box.
Leicester City leading 2-1 in the WSL as well, at home to Liverpool, and it's West Ham United 1, Everton 0. Sheared out wide to Porro on the right hand side. Ruud van Nistelrooy is getting a little bit agitated on the sidelines. Bradley.
The reason as well I'd suggested maybe Will Lancashire is, Spurs are going to have to cross a few ball, and he's a young player, a good height, aggressive. That's what he likes to do. Attack delivery.
2.5 minutes to go. 2-1 Leicester lead at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Here's Porro down the right hand side. Spurs looking now for an equaliser in this game. Hotspur at home on Thursday night. Porro's delivery far post is over everyone's head apart from Reguilon on the left. He can just jab it back towards Mikey Moore on the point of the penalty area. Here's Bentancur to Davis going backwards, bit of frustration, but they have to do so to try and create something. Mikey Moore goes around Feist and then runs it over the whitewash for a goal kick, and it's a goal kick that Stelarkic will take and he'll place it in his 6-yard box to do so. We're into the last 2 minutes of the game, normal time, Bradley. 6 or 7 minutes at the very minimum, surely added on time. So we've still got a long way to go. 2-1 Leicester lead.
You know, the physical, the emotional toil that the Tottenham fans are going to have to go through, but more importantly, Phil, the Tottenham players. Because there's some real ones that have been banging out these games, completing these games.
Yeah. James Justin is down,
holding exhausted.
His left calf. Kulusevski's tying his bootlaces up. Justin's up to his feet. Spurs' last home win in the Premier League, Bradley. That's quite a long way back now. Aston Villa on the 3rd of November, the last time Spurs won here in the Premier League. It's a long time, isn't it? Approaching 3 months as it's up in the air for Wout Faes to challenge. Next up, Elfsborg at home, trip to Brentford next Sunday, trip to Liverpool in the League Cup semi-final, trip to Aston Villa in the FA Cup, before Manchester United come here, the next league home game on the 16th of February. Leicester leading 2-1, but they are trying to hold really what they have, and then that's a foul committed by Rodrigo Bentancur on Patson Daka. We are 20 seconds away from finding out how much additional time is to be played at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and Leicester will take their time with this free kick, no doubt. Meantime, James Justin has gone down again.
Second time,
So Tweedledum and Tweedledee, the Leicester City physios, are waiting on the sidelines to up their steps. Yeah, they're going to need 7 minutes, Bradley. 7 minutes of additional time. Leicester are going to have to make a change, though. Justin is struggling. Akoli, you would have thought, would come on, wouldn't he?
I think he'd be the man,
Caleb Akoli on the sidelines, swept forward down the left-hand side. Daka brings it under control, pings it back into Samare in midfield. Justin doesn't really want to get involved. Here is Vestergaard chipping it forward towards Buonanotte, taken out of the air though by Pedro Porro, who slides it square, and Spurs are going to try and attack. James Justin is the man who's struggling somewhat now as he tries to get back. Spurs with it. They should really use that right side, shouldn't they, of the Leicester defence, because he is struggling, Leicester. They need to make that change pretty quickly, as here comes Kulusevski. Pokes it into Rodrigo Bentancur. His back heel though is met by Sumare, who scampers clear, runs into traffic, finds Harry Winks. Winks now tries to chip it forward towards Patson Daka. Spurs have to retreat inside their own half of the pitch. The first of the 7 minutes have elapsed. Spurs trailing 2-1.
I just think with a commitment here and a push, Spurs are going to get a chance. It's just whether they can tie this game up as and when it comes, Phil. A lot of players really fatigued now.
They are really starting to suffer. This is reaching deep into the well of reserves for these Spurs players. Kulusevski, bit of trickery, runs up against Christensen, who's just going to clip it away towards the halfway line. Daka and Bentancur challenging. Bentancur bounced off his shoulder blades, manages to retain possession for Tottenham Hotspur. Leicester have absolutely no ambition really. They're getting everyone back into a defensive formation as quickly as they can. Porro's cross blocked off the back of Christensen. Now it's going to be Spurs who just beaten to it this time from Daka, who hacks it away from Bentancur. Buonanotte and Daka with it. Wout Faes just sweeps it towards the halfway line. It's going to be like this for 5 minutes, Bradley.
Agricultural defending, isn't it? Just big challenge. He's got to stop it. He did well, Dragerson. He was first to the ball, but they're running again, aren't they?
Here they come.
The City.
They're going to get
their medical team.
Well, they're going to need their own physios. I think one of them might pull something at this rate. The two physios.
A bouncing ball, wasn't it, inside the centre circle? Dragerson first to it aggressively, and Daka the sub got caught.
We're going to see Koulibaly instead come on, I think, for someone. So it may be Koulibaly for James Justin. Leicester leading by 2 goals to 1, moves them, if it stays like this, Bradley, to 17 points. Still a long way to go, you'd have to say.
It's an enormous win, isn't it?
But it's just from a psychological point of view, it'd be a big win for them. Next up, Everton at home, Everton away, massive. Man United away, could be a 6-pointer in the relegation battle. Arsenal at home, Brentford home, West Ham United. Oh no, sorry, the Man United game is it the FA Cup game? Of course, that's not 6 points. I was being somewhat disparaging about Manchester United.
Yeah, James limping off. We expected that replacement. Crap setting in for him.
Koulibaly comes on to replace him.
There's going to be more than 97 film now as well, isn't there, with that treatment for Daka.
We're also seeing Archie Gray being replaced. Here comes the change that you were talking about. Will Lancashire on for Tottenham Hotspur. Archie Gray off. Daka is okay. Koulibaly is on for James Justin. And we've played almost 4 minutes of the added 7, but obviously that is going to add another minute, so we're going to be at least up to 8. Koulibaly trying to close down on the far touchline, skipping close attendance as well, slipped into Rodrigo Bentancur. Spurs looking to prize open an opening here. Porro makes a run, brave header away by Vestergaard, only into midfield, it's met by Ben Davies, shoot goes to Cry, it's been given away, and Koulibaly gets on the end of it, up against Sergio Reguilon. He's going to try and run forward as the Koulibaly. He's given possession back to Mikey Moore, then he wins it away from Mikey Moore. And then he just tickles it into midfield, and here's Winks. Daka's allowed back on for Leicester, having received a little bit of treatment. Winks in midfield, Koulibaly's wide, skipping field from him. Bonanacha goes on the run instead, trying to get in behind Ben Davies. Leicester have won it back through Skip, he concedes the throw. 2.5 plus added to the added, if you see what I mean, Bradley, to go with this added time, but there's got to be at least another minute.
Well, the Leicester fans are pushing, driving their team, aren't they, to see if they can, just withstand these last few minutes.
Ball into the area, oh, it's saved! Flag had gone up anyway, Mikey Moore was offside.
Oh, he just drifted in off that left-hand side. Time almost stood still, Phil, didn't it, for the moment? Just having a look. Right wing crosses, he checked back inside. Yeah, he was just
a
yard
offside
beyond the defender, Moore, wasn't he?
Well, it's one of those ones where I thought you let that play out just in case, but maybe the goalkeeper Stolacic made the save anyway, and right-footed from the free kick gets it clear. 90 seconds to go of added time. There will be some more. Scooped forward towards Bonanote. Dragason's underneath it. Oh, that's miscontrol from the Romanian. Managed to get a second bite of the cherry, and here's Pedro Porro through only onto the thigh of Conor Cody. Harry Winks goes scrambling for the ball. He's given it to Dejan Kulusevski. He's won it back though. Leicester City stretching somewhat with their defensive efforts, but now it's over the top for Daka to chase. Out from his goalmouth comes Kinski into the last minute of added time.
Played a little bit nervously as well, Phil, although they have got players back defensively and just shown a determination and stubbornness.
Christensen heads it away, little back heel from Bergvall to Dejan Kulusevski. Here's Porro on the right hand side. Kulusevski's in the area and he runs it over the byline. Took a deflection, corner kick.
Well, Tottenham have to load the box here, they've got no choice. It's pretty much everyone barring Reguilon just outside the Leicester 18-yard box, and obviously Kinski away to our left.
Yeah,
all or nothing here.
Yeah, 20 seconds of the added time plus a little bit more. Porro with the corner kick, heads go up, bundles down inside the 6-yard box, scrambled away. Kulusevski recycles. Now it's going to be a shot from Bentancur. Getting in the way of that was Vestergaard. Patson Daka runs into Bentancur. Free kick quickly taken. Kulusevski down the right hand side. Porro delivers, blocked though. Combination of Skip and Christensen, who scoops it away. Throwing on this near touchline for Tottenham Hotspur. We're playing added time in added time. Throw-in goes to Kinski. He's got to pile it forward now. Slides it out wide towards Kulusevski on the right hand side. Spurs trailing 2-1. Feist rises. It's a header by Dragasson, and Leicester City clear it with Winks. There was a push anyway, and that may well be that, Bradley Allen.
Yeah, the goalie will take his time, won't he? From the free kick awarded and the restart. He's pacing Van Nistelrooy. His side are nearly there. Monumental win for the visitors when you think of, Spurs being in front and that 10 minutes early into the second half that resulted in those 2 Leicester goals, and the transformation of this one. Spurs have huffed and puffed. They've tried to push forward, but they have defended stoutly, haven't they?
Clearance. Dragerson with a header back into Leicester territory. Conor Cody having his shirt pulled. Referee awards the free kick to Leicester. Their fans are on their feet, ready to celebrate what could be a very big victory for them. It'll certainly give them a little bit of momentum, Bradley, in this battle against the drop. And Ruud van Nistelrooy with a goal from Jamie Vardy, added to by El Khanous just 4.5 minutes after the break, may well get a victory here. The Spurs fans have started drifting away. Cody with the free kick, pumps it deep inside Spurs territory. Kulusevski tries to win it back. Here now is Soumare, won't need to run further forward. It's the Leicester City fans who celebrate. The Spurs supporters are booing. I don't think they're booing the efforts of the players that have been out there. They look shattered. They've been asked to do a lot of work over the last few weeks. They just didn't have enough. They just don't have enough. But Leicester City, for them, it's a big win. A lead given to Spurs in the first half through Richarlison's header from a cross on the right hand side from Pedro Porro, but Leicester with 2 quick-fire goals after the break. Jamie Vardy followed by El Khanous, and then a defensive effort which actually there were a couple of opportunities. Porro hitting the bar or hitting the post with a save from a free kick. They went close a couple of other occasions, but maybe not enough. Tottenham Hotspur suffer another defeat. They haven't won at home in the Premier League since the 3rd of November. It will drift into over 3 months by the time they next play here in the Premier League. The Leicester fans celebrate, the Spurs fans protest. It's finished at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Leicester City 2.
BBC Radio London,
the home of London football.
Waiting for full time at Selhurst Park. The Leicester City supporters are jubilant on the far touchline. Bradley, I'll get your thoughts in a minute if that's okay, but let's go to Selhurst Park where it's all over as well. Crystal Palace, Brentford, and it's Sahel Sahi.
Yeah, we played 100 minutes eventually here, Phil. It ended Crystal Palace 1, Brentford 2. It was a quiet game, tepid almost, until the 65th minute, and then it hit a spark, and Mbeumo opening the scoring from the penalty spot after Lacroix brought down Collins. It was retaken because Dean Henderson encroached. Brentford took the lead. They made a second through Kevin Schade from across from the right hand side from Damsgaard. That was 2-0. It looked to be the points for Brentford with 10 minutes to play, but there was another twist, and Romain Esse came off the bench to pull Crystal Palace back into the game with his first touch in Premier League football. His shot came off the post. We had a rip-roaring final 5 minutes plus time added on, but Brentford have done the double over Crystal Palace for the first time since these two clubs met in the 3rd Division South in 1955/1956, 69 long years ago. Full time at Selhurst Park, Crystal Palace 1, Brentford 2.
And Sahel, very quickly, Steve Brown alongside you. Steve, was this one of small margins?
Yeah, absolutely. And their first goal was crucial, and the penalty was right in terms of the referee's decision. I don't agree to a degree that Henderson was pulled up for encroaching. I don't know how you get momentum to dive right or left if you're not allowed to take one step forward. I think one step should be allowed, but the rules are you can't, and so it was retaken, and Mbeumo slotted it the other side. He changed direction, sent Henderson the wrong way, and that sent Brentford on their way. And you know as well as I do, Phil, when they've got the lead, they're excellent at soaking up pressure and counter-attacking. The ball out from Collins intercepts. He plays a wonderful first-time half volley through the lines into Schade, who turns about 45 yards out. He feeds Damsgaard on the right and continues his run into the box. Damsgaard does what all good wingers should do. He drops his shoulder to the right, half a yard onto that left foot, and wicked delivery into the middle of the 6. And then Schade with a powerful header beats Henderson, and that's enough. They did claw one back. Curiously enough, I don't know why, Esse gets the goal at the far post, but Collins has a chance to clear and just dummies it. And Esse puts it in the far post, so we get that finish that all games get at the end when it's 1 goal difference, where there's long balls into the box, but they held out. But that game was tight, Phil. Could have gone either way, but the first goal was crucial.
Steve, Sahel, thank you so much indeed. Brentford up to 11th at the moment, 31 points for Brentford. Crystal Palace just below them, 27 points for Crystal Palace. Further down, Manchester United on 26, West Ham United on 26 as well. They kid off against Aston Villa in half an hour's time. Tottenham Hotspur 24 points, Everton in 16th on 23, Leicester out of the bottom 3 on 17 points in 17th, and then it's Wolves and Ipswich who are 3rd and 2nd bottom, with Southampton absolutely cast adrift at the bottom of the table. Bradley Allen, the Leicester fans jubilant, as you can imagine. Massive win for them. They're out the bottom 3. They've got something which they've ended a 7-game losing streak. The Spurs fans understandably irritated by what's going on. I don't think their reaction at the end was to do with the effort that the players put in. There is sympathy for Ange Postecoglou and his team, in that there's a lot of players out there who are running virtually on empty. They're having to go again and again. Some of them have not had a lot of game time. Ben Davies, Richarlison, Reguilon, Bentancur's been out, he's come back. Pape Matar has come back, recently. Some of them are young players. Archie Gray, massively impressive. Lucas Bergvall maybe getting more games than he would have expected this season. There's a lot of issues there, so I don't think the reaction from the Spurs fans was to do with that. It's a more structural complaint, I think, that's going on. You give credit to Leicester, but the frustration is just going to build and build, isn't it, from Spurs?
Well, it is, Phil, because I think the key point amongst it all that you highlighted towards the back of commentary was the form in the Premier League that Spurs have been in. That doesn't lie, and their position in the league table. And for whatever reason, because of the brutal nature of this industry and this Premier League and how competitive it is, you look at, the changes that clubs in and around Spurs have made on their managers. Now, he's been dealt an unbelievably difficult set of cards here, isn't he, Ange, with the injuries, and obviously Spurs' progression in these cup competitions and the amount of injuries. But I think the concern a little bit must be that how quickly can some return, whether they're going to be up to speed, and an even heavier burden and expectation on these players upon their return in terms of what they're coming into, Phil. It's not only the semi-final against Liverpool, it's not only the next game Thursday evening, which they should, against Elfsberg, get a point or 3 and progress in one of those top 8 positions in the Europa League and have that to look forward to in March. But there's going to be another 2 games in March. It's the Premier League games as well. They've got a London derby away at Brentford, which will not be a gimme next weekend. Brentford have been a bit unlucky actually in performance against Spurs in the last couple of seasons, and probably due a win on state of play. Spurs have still got such tough games in the league, and the points that they've got, and the not winning in this particular competition. You'd think in one-off fixtures and in the cups they can continue their season in the cup competitions. They could quite conceivably go to Aston Villa in a couple of weeks and win on the Sunday evening game, and get through in the next stage of the FA Cup as well. So they'd still be in the FA Cup, they could be in March in a League Cup final, and they could be in Europa League knockout. Amazing in those 3 competitions. But the bread and butter of the Premier League, it is becoming worrying.
It is. 24 points in 23 games, 7 wins, 13 defeats for Tottenham Hotspur in a Premier League season. Only the bottom team, Southampton, and then Leicester themselves and Wolves have lost more games than Spurs. And the nature today, they needed to settle things down. Conceding that second goal after going 1-1 was a real sucker punch, because they tried, as you said, huffed and puffed, but they didn't. They weren't overly incisive, because Leicester suddenly had somebody to defend, and it was very difficult to break them down. And where you've got those young players that lack true experience at the moment, like Bergvall, like Gray, who have been banging the games out. Young Mikey Moore, who was introduced, and he got some minutes towards the end of the game.
it's unfair in many ways to place the expectation on them to be the deciding factor and actually pull Spurs out of it in this particular game. I think the disappointment will be the lacklustre start and those 4 or 5 minutes in the second half. Credit to Leicester for the speed that they attacked, the quality that they found with the crosses and the finishes. No surprise with his consistent record, the veteran striker, the brilliant striker Jamie Vardy, he scores that all-important equaliser. But then for Spurs to concede another so swiftly, that made the task even greater. There was big pressure on them at the end. They tried in vain, but they couldn't quite find the final ball and quality, and more importantly for a clear-cut chance to at least salvage a 2-2 draw here. So somehow they've got to rest, they've got to recover, and they've got to go again next Thursday, next Saturday. It's non-stop.
And the optics as well are not great. So it's dropped points against Wolves, defeat to Leicester, defeat at Everton in recent weeks. 3 teams who are, they're in that bottom 5 now. I mean, Everton have got themselves out of it as a consequence of last week and this week, but all of the teams that they played are struggling teams, and that's what worries people, is that there would have been an expectation, okay, it's not easy, we've got a lack of players, however it's Leicester who've just lost 7 on the bounce. They've just lost to a team who'd been beaten 7 times.
That is cause for concern. They've got to go, pretty soon go to Portman Road and face Ipswich, which is going to be another really, really tricky game, sprinkled in there amongst all the other fixtures they've got to overcome. So, we've said it time and time again, it is non-stop, it is relentless, there's no break here. There's no break for any of these players. The only chance that a break can come about is if, and pretty quickly, 2 or 3 of these big hitting players can return. But for what pressure on them, Phil, to come in and be amazing from the get-go. There's no guarantee of that.
Back here Thursday, Bradley, big European night. They need a little bit of cheer, don't they?
They certainly do. They need to just make sure that
it's going to be the same team, isn't it?
Yeah, there's not many changes. Maybe a sprinkling. Maybe 1 or 2 of the younger ones might perhaps just get some minutes. Basuma, Bentancur will probably, having just come back himself. Ben Davies, them 2 you'd think are going to need a little bit of a breather. So a lot of big decisions to make and things to be considered.
Bradley, thank you for your time this afternoon. I'm going to let you go because we're moving on to our next match in a moment or two. Bradley Allen with us on BBC Radio London this afternoon here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Our 3rd commentary game of the day. We've brought you Spurs losing at home to Leicester, Brentford beating Crystal Palace by 2-1 down at Selhurst Park. Comes from Villa Park, Aston Villa against West Ham United.